The Priestess's time travel. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 676 Game World 11. Huangfu Jingxin's face also looked ugly for a moment, but he recovered quickly. He glanced at Feng's hero. The small special secret realm was nothing. Holding such a treasure in their hands was the biggest gain of their trip to the desert this time. Huangfu Jingxin put a stack of white papers with test questions and answers written on them into his storage space. These white papers were very different from the papers they had seen before. They were things from the real world, right? Feng's hero could bring things from the real world into their world, so could she also bring things from their world into the real world? Could she also bring people into the real world? Thinking of this, Huangfu Jingxin's heart burned. Let's go, leave here. Huangfu Jingxin spoke. His companions followed in Huangfu Jingxin's footsteps and turned to leave. Feng's hero did not hesitate at all, and hurried to catch up, walking beside Huangfu Jingxin. Only Ye did not go with the crowd and stay there. Feng's hero noticed this and asked in confusion, "Isn't Ye going with us?" Huangfu Jingxin said, "Ye, you stay and see who passes through this special secret realm." Huangfu Jingxin still cares about those who successfully pass through the special secret realm and snatch benefits from them. He wants to know who the other party is, and then decide whether to make friends with him or. Su Qingni wrote the solution process and answer of the last question on the paper with an indifferent expression. Just as Feng's hero and Su Qingni guessed, as expected, after the high school math Olympiad questions, there are questions for the International Mathematical Olympiad. I don't know who the owner of this secret realm or the programmer who made the copy is, who actually came up with this kind of question to test people. If this world is open to all players like an ordinary game world, the programmer will definitely be scolded by the players. The reward for successfully passing the level is generous. In addition to rare materials and equipment, everyone who passes the level also gets a Shaolin Dahuandan. Shaolin Dahuandan is equivalent to the experience pill for players. After eating it, players can level up 50 at once, while people in this world will increase their skills by 60 years. A group of friends made preparations before leaving the secret realm. They didn't want to be the object of everyone's attention. When they were teleported out of the secret realm, several people used their superb light skills together, flew out of the crowd very quickly, and ran away. Many people who were waiting outside the secret realm to watch the successful clearance had not yet reacted, and Su Qingni and her friends disappeared from everyone's sight. Most people didn't see Su Qingni and her friends clearly, but Ye, who had been concentrating to see who cleared the level before his team and had extraordinary eyesight and memory, saw the appearance of several of them clearly and remembered them firmly. Ye followed the clues left by his companions and returned to his companions. He dictated and Si Tuangai wrote, and the three portraits appeared on the picture, lifelike, as if real people were there. Feng's hero saw one of them and shouted, "It's them." Everyone looked at Feng's hero, and Huangfu Jingxin asked, "Do you recognize them?" Feng's hero nodded, pointed to the portrait of Su Qingni and said, "I once did a bounty mission with him and his sister. This boy is arrogant and looks down on people. His sister is not friendly either. I wanted to go with them to the secret realm, but they refused." The others laughed in their hearts, saying that instead of saying bad things about others, why don't you talk about yourself? It's normal for people to refuse you, considering that you are a fool and have low strength. If it weren't for the clues of the real world, we wouldn't go with you. Everyone thought so, but they couldn't say it out loud, and they all helped Feng's hero to attack Su Qingni and his group. "Do you know their information?" Huangfu Jingxin asked Feng's hero. Feng's hero shook her head. "I only know that his name is Su Qingni, his sister is Su Qingni. They also have a pair of siblings, and their teammates are from the same village as them." From the same village? Huangfu Jingxin frowned and thought, could it be from that legendary village? The others were shocked. Impossible. Huangfu Jingxin said, "It is very likely. The fact that they were able to pass through the special secret realm before us shows that these people are as powerful as us. And from Zero's description, these people are very young, younger than us. Such young people who are so young but have powerful strength, except for those trained by us from big families and sects, are only from that village." After hearing this, the others felt that what Huangfu Jingxin said was very right, and they all showed expressions of envy and unwillingness, wanting to compete with others to see who is stronger. Feng's hero was confused. She looked left and right and asked, "What village is this? Where did Su Qingni and the others come from?" Huangfu Jingxin explained to Feng's hero, "Yincheng village." The villagers in that village were all legendary figures in the past. They were tired of the world and lived in seclusion in the same village. People in the world called that nameless village Yincheng village. Many people wanted to enter Yincheng village to visit those martial arts predecessors and legends, but no one could find the village. It is said that the village was hidden by the predecessors in the village who were proficient in formations, and only the villagers themselves could enter and leave freely. Everyone in the village is not an ordinary person and has their own legend. It is very likely that the owner of the tailor shop was the leader of the demon cult, the #1 martial arts master in the past. It is very likely that the owner of the pharmacy is a notorious demon doctor. It is very likely. Listening to Huangfu Jingxin's story, Feng's hero had infinite yearning for Yincheng village. This Yincheng village should be a very special copy, right? If I can enter Yincheng village, can I get huge benefits? Feng's hero couldn't help but feel more resentful towards Su Qingni and Su Qingni. These two people from Yincheng village didn't even take her to play. It was too much. She even wanted them to lead the way for her, but now it seems impossible. So how can she enter Yincheng village? Feng's hero's eyes rolled around, and her sights fell on Huangfu Jingxin. Huangfu Jingxin should be able to take her into Yincheng village, right? Feng's hero has great confidence in Huangfu Jingxin. From the time they spent together, she could see that Huangfu Jingxin and his companions were different from other NPCs in the game. This group of people must have extremely high status and extremely high freedom, and they can do many things that ordinary NPCs can't do. After Huangfu Jingxin introduced Yincheng village, he said to his companions, "If they are really from Yincheng village, then we should focus on winning them over and making friends with them, and we can't offend them. You know, behind them are a group of powerful beings who are very protective of their shortcomings." Chapter 677 Game World ZI. Su Qingni and Su Qingni continued to wander in the desert. After they separated at the secret place, the friends went to do their own things. If there was any situation, they would send pigeons to communicate. On this day, Su Qingni and Su Qingni were roasting snake meat in the desert. A white pigeon fell from the sky and landed on Su Qingni's shoulder. The pigeon cooed at Su Qingni twice and raised a small paw. Su Qingni took off a very small bamboo tube from its paw and pulled out a thin piece of paper from it. After reading the contents on the paper, Su Qingni said to Su Qingni, "Pack up and let's go to the capital." Su Qingni was puzzled. "What are we going to the capital for?" Su Qingni said, "Brother said that someone knows that we are from Yincheng village and wants to meet us to discuss important matters with us." Su Qingni asked, "Who is it?" "You are quite smart. You actually guessed our origins." Su Qingni, the emperor's son, the third prince Huangfu Jingxin. Su Qingni was not afraid of the emperor and the royal family. He sneered and said, "What important matter does he want to discuss with us? Is he going to ask us to help him grab the throne?" Su Qingni said, "Huangfu Jingxin is also the head disciple of Taixun sect. Taixun sect is the largest sect in the world. Its power and influence are very huge. The royal family has to retreat in front of Taixun sect. As the head disciple of Taixun sect, he may become the head of Taixun sect in the future. The third prince Huangfu Jingxin doesn't look down on the throne, right? Let's go and listen to what Huangfu Jingxin has to say." Su Qingni pulled Su Qingni up from the ground. "Big brother sent a pigeon to summon us, which means there must be something big going on. The capital of this world is in Chang'an, not far from Sand City. But with a teleportation array, the distance doesn't matter." After Su Qingni and Su Qingni arrived in Chang'an, they met up with their brothers, sisters and friends before heading to the third prince's mansion together. Huangfu Jingxin and his companions went outside the mansion to greet Su Qingni and her group. Feng's hero was not among them. Feng's hero was offline. It was precisely because Feng's hero was not there that Huangfu Jingxin made an appointment with Su Qingni and her group to discuss business with him. After the two sides exchanged polite greetings, Huangfu Jingxin did not beat around the bush and asked Su Qingni and her group directly whether they were really from Yincheng village. Su Qingni did not deny that their origins had been guessed, and nodded in acknowledgement. Huangfu Jingxin took a deep breath and said to the people from Yincheng village, "Everyone, what I am going to say now is very important. It concerns our world. I hope you can stay calm and don't get excited." Su Qingni raised his eyebrows and said, "Brother Huangfu, please go ahead." They wanted to hear what big thing it was that made Huang Fujingshan and his group look so cautious, as if the world was about to suffer a disaster. You have to know that the people around Huang Fujingshan are either from a long-standing big family or big sect. They are all outstanding people. But now they are like this, which makes the people in Yincheng village curious. Huang Fujingshan did not speak, but took out a stack of information from the storage equipment and pushed it in front of everyone. These are the information passed down by our family and sect. You can take a look first. Su Qingni and others picked up the information with doubts and read it. These materials are all broken, some of them have only a few words, and some have more records, but they are also very limited. However, these fragments of words and a few sentences and a few lines of words put together all indicate one situation: the world they live in is not real. There is another real world outside the world they live in. The people from Yincheng village, except Su Qingni, were all shocked and looked up at Huang Fujingshan and others in disbelief. Huang Fujingshan and others nodded in unison, confirming the doubts of the people from Yincheng village. Su Qingni put down the information in his hand, and the expression on his face was the same as Huang Fujingshan and others. Huang Fujingshan said, "We sincerely invite you to join us in finding the way to the real world." Su Qingni sighed and said, "I didn't expect that the world I have lived in for almost 20 years is actually an illusion. Then are we real or an illusion?" Huang Fujingshan said, "Of course we are real. We are just trapped in this illusion." Su Qingni glanced at his friends and got the answer from their eyes. He said to Huang Fujingshan, "Okay, we will join you." "Great." Huang Fujingshan smiled and told Su Qingni and others about their gains. "In fact, we have found someone who may be from the real world. As long as we follow this person, we will most likely leave the illusion and go to the real world." Su Qingni remembered the strange scene he had seen before, and asked, "Is the person you said who may be from the real world Feng's hero?" Huang Fujingshan was surprised. "Brother, did you also find that Feng's hero came from the real world?" Su Qingni said, "I didn't know she was from the real world at the time. I just saw her turn into white light and disappear. I thought this woman was very strange and might bring us trouble, so I stayed away from her." Huang Fujingshan's mouth twitched. What a careless woman she was. She blamed others for looking down on her and abandoning her, but in fact, she had caused all this trouble herself. You, a living person, disappeared right in front of others' eyes. It would be strange if they didn't stay away from you. It's good enough that they didn't treat you as a monster and chop you up. No wonder. Huang Fujingshan said, "It's recorded in the data that when aliens return to the real world, they turn into white light and disappear." After confirming Feng's hero's identity as an alien and that she was going to be used, Su Qingni spoke. "Mr. Huangfu, are you going to follow Feng's hero all the time?" Huang Fujingshan nodded. "Yes, we have to monitor Feng's hero, and we have to win her favor, so that she will take the initiative to reveal things in the real world to us, and it would be best if she could take us away from this world and go to the real world." Su Qingni said, "Feng's hero should not be able to take people away from this world, right?" Huang Fujingshan, "How do you know that you can't if you don't try?" "From what I have seen, Feng's hero can bring things from the real world into our world, and can also bring things from our world into the real world. I once heard Feng's hero mutter that she wanted to take an ornament embroidered by my palace embroiderer to the auction house to exchange for money. Such ornaments are not valuable, and the auction house in our world will not accept them. The most likely one that will accept them and sell them for money is the auction house in the real world." After saying that, Huang Fujingshan took out the paper with the test questions, the succession process and the answers written on it that Feng's hero gave him, and showed it to the people from Yincheng village. "Damn! Isn't this just A4 printing paper?" Chapter 678 Game World 13. "Damn! Isn't this just A4 printing paper?" Su Qingni touched the smooth surface of the paper. "It seems that Feng's hero can really bring things from two worlds to another world. This is simply a huge golden finger, not a golden thigh, but thicker than a finger. There are so many good things in the game, any one of them can be sold at a sky-high price in modern society. Nowadays, Feng's hero is already a rich woman in real life, right? I wonder if she has married a young man and reached the peak of her life? In reality, Feng's hero is indeed a rich woman. She took the embroidered ornaments she got in the game to the auction house for auction. Purely handmade works sold at sky-high prices, and Feng's hero has taken out some small things from the game one after another. These days these things are not valuable in the game, But they are very popular in reality. Feng's hero is now a rich person with tens of millions of funds. After giving her parents some money, Feng's hero began to live a life of luxury and enjoyment. Going to a high-end brand store is no longer just buying a piece of clothing to satisfy your pleasure. She can buy whatever she wants, and she can even pull the bags and leather shoes that look nice to her. She doesn't have to worry about not being able to pay or carry things. She has bought so many things and the merchants will deliver them to her door. She has already bought a villa. Although she only paid the down payment, if she is given another month, she can pay the full amount. The game can bring her money continuously. With a golden finger, she doesn't feel nervous about spending money. As for the handsome guy, there is none for the time being. But Feng's hero believes that there will be one soon. With money, what can't be obtained? The camera pulls back. Su Qingni feels that Huang Fujingxin's idea may be possible. Maybe Feng's hero is the heroine in the novel, who has the ability to connect the two worlds. And Huang Fujingxin is the hero. As long as Hu wins Feng's hero's heart and makes Feng's hero unwilling to separate from Huang Fujingxin, it is possible that Feng's hero's golden finger will derive an ability, so that Huang Fujingxin, as Feng's hero's partner, will also have a system that allows her to travel between the two worlds. Then Huang Fujingxin left the game world and went to the real world to live a happy life with Feng's hero. The above is the ending of the novel. But what about in reality? As long as Huang Fujingxin goes to the real world, he will find a way to bring his partners and relatives to the real world. Will the real world be in chaos at that time? Su Qingni doesn't know. Or is this an opportunity for the real world? Su Qingni will not destroy this opportunity. The development of the two worlds is determined by the people in these two worlds. With her watching, if the collision of the two worlds is not fusion, but collapse, and the world is heading towards destruction, she will help and stabilize the two worlds. Both worlds are small worlds. For a great god like her, destruction and stability are not too troublesome. And protecting the two worlds from collapse, but there is a huge merit account. She has traveled through so many worlds, and each world has more or less merit accounted for. These merits have helped her a lot, allowing her to practice very smoothly and improve her strength a lot. Su Qingni felt that her strength was not far from Donghuang Taiyi, the first person under the saint. Will I be able to surpass Donghuang Taiyi one day? At that time, can I, who is stronger than Donghuang Taiyi, come and forcefully rob a civilian man and bring back a husband to warm my bed? Su Qingni's words pulled Su Qingni's thoughts back from where she had gone. Su Qingni and Huang Fujingxin reached a cooperation intention, and both teams would work hard to find a way to go to the real world. However, these people from Yincheng village would not appear next to Feng's hero. They would look for other ways to go to the real world. Su Qingni did not believe that there was only one chance for Feng's hero. Su Qingni agreed with this. She also felt that there should not be only one chance for Feng's hero. Since this world has relevant clues about the real world, there must be a way to go to the real world. It's just that it's too hidden for people to find. Before Feng's hero came online, Su Qingni left with his friends. Su Qingni believed Su Qingni's words that Feng's hero might be a trouble, and it would be best to stay away from her. And Huang Fujingxin didn't want Su Qingni and the others to see Feng's hero. He wanted to use Feng's hero's feelings to achieve his own goals, so it would be better for Su Qingni not to get close to Feng's hero. Su Qingni was very good looking, comparable to him. What if Feng's hero fell in love with Su Qingni? After leaving the third prince's mansion, a group of friends gathered in a private room of the restaurant. They ordered a table of delicious dishes, and while eating, they complained that the chef's cooking skills were not as good as Su Qingni and another friends. After eating almost everything, Su Qingni spoke up. What do you think? Su Qingni was the first to answer. Huang Fujingxin and his friends are sincerely cooperating with us. Su Qingni nodded. If Huang Fujingxin was not sincere in cooperating with them, he would have left the third prince's mansion with his friends long ago. The problem now is that we have too few clues in our hands, and we don't know where to start. Su Qingni said. Huang Fujingxin gave Su Qingni and others a copy of the information they had in their hands, including the places they had been to over the years, but the clues they could provide were minimal, almost non-existent. Su Qingni and others didn't know how to start. Su Qingni said, let's go back to the village first. I think the elders at home should know more. Their elders are all influential figures, each of them is more talented than Huang Fujingxin's group, and they were all high-level or even powerful people in major forces. What Huang Fujingxin and his group discovered, How could they not have discovered it? Everyone nodded, thinking that this was a good idea. Okay, then let's go back to the village first. Su Qingni planned the next itinerary. Su Qingni held the chopsticks, and had a feeling in her heart that the extremely yin place she was looking for might be related to the real world. After leaving the restaurant, the group immediately used the teleportation array to return to Hangzhou City, and then left the city and ran back to their own village using Qingguang. Yincheng village is actually not far from Hangzhou City, but there is a formation outside the village, which covers the village, so that the residents of Hangzhou City don't know that there is such a village outside the city. Well, the former bigwigs who did business in the village also evaded taxes with peace of mind, because no officials could enter the village to collect taxes. The formation outside the village was of no use to a group of children who grew up in the village. Everyone was not affected by the formation at all, and they could enter the village smoothly even with their eyes closed. Chapter 679 Game World Ziv. Hey, why are you back? A group of friends were discovered by the villagers as soon as they entered the village. Everyone surrounded them in surprise, with concern on their faces. In fact, the adults thought that it would take a long time for these young people to travel outside the village, at least half a year, right? As a result, just over a month later, a group of young people came back. The only thing the adults thought of was that they encountered some unsolvable problems. I encountered an important thing. Su Qingni looked at the familiar faces, and his restless heart calmed down a little. With these elders, they have support and confidence, and no matter how difficult the problem is, they can solve it. What happened? Did someone bully you? Tell Uncle Song. Uncle Song will help you teach those people a lesson. The butcher shop owner, Old Song, had the hottest temper and shouted. Su Qingni hurried to Old Song to comfort his master. Master, don't be angry, we are not bullied. With our ability, it's almost the same as bullying others. That's right. Old Song's anger subsided. Master Yu from the blacksmith shop faces the stove every day, but he has the mildest temper and the most stable personality. He said, let the children go home and rest first. Tomorrow, let's gather under the big banyan tree at the entrance of the village, and let the children talk about what they can't solve. Everyone agreed and dispersed. Parents and elders with children took their children home directly. Su Qingni and the other three said goodbye to the master who taught them skills and went back to Su's house first. When they got home, Su Qingni and the other four knew that Su's mother was pregnant again, no more, no less, just 1 month. The four people twitched their mouths, then showed a bright smile and went forward to congratulate their father and mother. Alice, the love between father and mother has not changed for more than 20 years, and they are used to it. In the evening, Su Qingni and Su Qingni cooked, and the family had a rich reunion dinner. Su's father and mother did not ask the four people why they came back, but only asked them to rest early, and if there was anything, they would tell it in front of the whole village tomorrow. The next day, after breakfast, the villagers did not go to the fields to work or open shops, but all gathered at the entrance of the village. There was a very huge old banyan tree at the entrance of the village. The trunk diameter was at least 2 meters, not to mention the canopy, which was like a huge umbrella, covering the sky and the sun, and could accommodate hundreds of people hiding underneath. With the old banyan tree as the center was a large open space, which was the village martial arts training ground. When the 6 people from the Su family arrived, more than half of the villagers had already arrived, and everyone was sitting under the tree chatting. Someone brought peanuts and melon seeds and shared them with others. So everyone ate peanuts and melon seeds and chatted, as if they were having a tea party. The 6 people found a place to sit down and opened the cloth bags they brought. There were also snacks inside, all of which were dried fruits made by Su's father. The sourest dried fruit was left for Su's mother, and Su's father took out the other dried fruits to share with the villagers. Soon, everyone was there. However, the villagers were not in a hurry to ask about business, and they continued to eat, drink and chat for a long time before they stopped and focused their attention on Su Qingni. Su Qingni was not afraid either. He stood up and began to tell about his meeting with Huangfu Jingxin, and also told about the records and the materials that Huangfu Jingxin showed them. The villagers did not show any look of surprise on their faces, but only sighed. Sure enough, they also knew these things. After Su Qingni stopped talking, the village chief spoke on behalf of the elders. I didn't expect you to discover the truth of this world so early. The village chief sighed, and then told the young people what they knew. As expected of the former geniuses and influential figures, They knew more than Huang Fujingshan and others. However, these materials were not of much use to Su Qingni and others in finding clues. If they were useful, wouldn't these elders have found a way to break the shackles of this world and go to the real world? All of a sudden, everyone fell silent. There are no clues, no way. Are the younger generation going to live in this unreal world all their lives like the older generation? It's actually no big deal. Old song said, although the information says that this world is not real, you hold your chest and say, is this world really not real? We were born in this world, live in this world, we are powerful, we live in seclusion, and our lives are not in vain. What is not real? In my opinion, it's good like this. The former leader of the demon cult nodded and said, instead of looking for the so-called real world that I don't know what it is, it's better to live in the present world. Master Yi also said, I'm old and just want to retire in the village. The elders in the village all think this way. They think that the world they have lived in for a lifetime is very real. This is their world. They don't think there's anything good about leaving this world. But young people are different. They want to see a different world. They are unwilling in their hearts. Why can they only live in an unreal world? They also want to be real. The elders understand the thoughts of young people. They once had such thoughts, but reality made them change this idea. For young people nowadays, they can only encourage them to go for it. What if these children can do what they can't do and gain something? Do we have to rely on Huang Fujingshan and Feng's hero? Su Qingni frowned. Su Qingni said, don't be discouraged. Let's go around the world and look for clues that Huang Fujingshan and others haven't found. The friends nodded. How can we be discouraged when things have just begun? Su Qingni turned around and asked the village chief, Uncle Village Chief, is there any legend of ghosts in this world? Of course there are. Before retiring, the village chief was an intelligence agent in the martial arts world. He was a master of the martial arts world and had a deep understanding of this world. Not only are there legends of ghosts, but there are also secret places where ghosts gather. Su Qingni's eyes lit up and said, Uncle Village Chief, tell me quickly. The village chief wondered why Su Qingni suddenly wanted to know all this, but he still told Su Qingni one by one. Su Qingni wrote it down carefully. When the village chief finished speaking, Su Qingni quickly poured a cup of tea from the teapot and handed it to the village chief. The village chief took a sip of tea and asked, Qingni girl, why are you interested in ghost stories? Su Qingni smiled and said, I was wondering if the connection between the real world and our world has something to do with these ghosts. Chapter 680 Game World 15. Su Qingni and her group set out from the village again. Her previous statement was agreed by most people. These places where ghosts exist were ignored by the elders and Huang Fujingshan, and they were not investigated. This time, everyone set out again, and they were going to investigate those places and look for clues. The first place the group came to was a haunted house in Hangzhou. This haunted house is a secret place, but because the ghosts in it are difficult to fight, and the rewards after passing are not rich, the effort is not proportional to the return, and not many people are willing to come to this secret place for training. Su Qingni and her group are the only team to come to this secret place this year. Everyone made preparations and entered the gate of the haunted house. It took 3 days for everyone to get through the haunted house, but unfortunately, they did not find any clues in it. It was a bit disappointing, but everyone was mentally prepared. After all, clues are not so easy to find. Everyone went to the next place with haunted legends, according to the information obtained from the village chief. Just like this, one place after another, the group really got some clues. But these clues are very fragmented, and no useful information can be pieced together. Everyone can only continue to push the haunted secret realm. While Su Qingni and the others were not doing very well, Huang Fujingshan was making good progress. Huang Fujingshan was very good looking and had a very high EQ. It was easy for him to hook up with a woman who coveted his beauty. It didn't take long for Feng's hero to really fall in love with Huang Fujingshan. Even though she knew in her heart that Huang Fujingshan was just an NPC, not a real person, Feng's hero still couldn't help but fall in love with Huang Fujingshan. So what if he's not a real person? So what if he's an NPC? In novels, are there few people who fall in love with NPCs? What's more, she was sure that she would not give up this game and would play this game for the rest of her life, so she could always be with Huang Fujingshan and would not separate because they did not belong to the same world. The most important thing is that this game world is very real and there are not many restrictions on players and NPCs. Players and NPCs can interact intimately. She and Huangfu Jingxin can not only interact above the neck, but also below the neck. That was really a pleasure. Huangfu Jingxin's skills were very good, and she felt like she had entered heaven. How could she not love such a good partner? How could she give up? She even wanted to bring Huangfu Jingxin to the real world. Now that she was spending more and more time in the game, her game level was getting higher and higher, and she could bring more and more things out, and the restrictions were getting smaller and smaller. Just 2 days ago, she brought a little white rabbit to the real world as a contract pet. The little white rabbit was alive when it came to the real world. Feng's hero let it stay in the real world for 3 days and found that it was still alive and kicking. Feng's hero was very happy. She could bring living things to the real world, so would she be able to bring people in the game to the real world in a while? Exclamation mark. She imagined the scene of taking Huangfu Jingxin back to her hometown to see her parents. Those relatives, friends and people in the village would definitely praise her for finding an excellent man. She imagined taking Huangfu Jingxin to a class reunion, and the female classmates would definitely be jealous. Thinking of this, she felt very good, flying in the air as if she had wings. Feng's hero hurried to tell Huangfu Jingxin the good news and share his joy. Here, Huangfu Jingxin discovered her uniqueness. She did not hide it anymore and told Huangfu Jingxin her origins. Huangfu Jingxin did not alienate her because of her identity. Instead, he treated her better and wanted to stay with her in the real world. She naturally agreed. Wait for a while, and I will take you to my world. Feng's hero said to Huangfu Jingxin. Well, I will wait. Huangfu Jingxin smiled at Feng's hero. I believe you. After speaking, Huangfu Jingxin gently embraced Feng's hero. Feng's hero leaned on Huangfu Jingxin's chest happily and contentedly, without seeing Huangfu Jingxin's flickering eyes. After being tender with her lover for a long time, Feng's hero went offline. When her figure turned into white light and disappeared, Huangfu Jingxin put away the gentle smile on his face, stepped out of the third prince's mansion, and went to the base where his companions were. Seeing Huangfu Jingxin coming, his companions put down their work and gathered around him. Huangfu Jingxin smiled at everyone. I should be able to go to the real world soon. His companions cheered. When their voices stopped, Huangfu Jingxin spoke again. When I go to the real world, I will find a way to open up the channel between the two worlds and bring you to the real world. His companions nodded vigorously, clenching their fists in excitement. They have great confidence in Huangfu Jingxin. In the real world, Feng's hero went to the auction house again with the good things she took out from the game. She is now a big customer of the auction house, and the employees of the auction house received Feng's hero very warmly. Feng's hero put down the things to be auctioned this time and left, but she didn't know that as soon as she left, the manager of the auction house dialed a phone and reported to the person on the other end of the phone that Feng's hero had come to the auction house. Feng's hero is not careful at all in doing things, and is even too unscrupulous. An ordinary college graduate with no background suddenly became rich and beautiful, and she became beautiful without plastic surgery. Whether she had plastic surgery can be obtained through investigation, and photos of Feng's hero before she became beautiful can also be easily obtained. It would be strange if there is no trick in this. Feng's hero has been discovered by someone with ulterior motives and has been eyeing her, but this girl has no feeling. People who monitor her appeared around her, but she didn't notice. Obviously, as her game level increased, her strength in reality also improved. As a result, this girl did not apply these abilities to real life at all. Su Qingni and his group finally made a discovery. In a secret place where ghosts are very dense, everyone finally found clues to the real world. According to the clues, they found a teleporter that had been abandoned for a long time. This teleportation array was partially destroyed and needed to be repaired. But if it was successfully repaired, they would have a great chance of being teleported to the real world. This teleportation array is very complicated, and it is impossible for young people to repair the teleportation array with their knowledge and experience. Su Qingni sent Su Qingni and Su Qingni back to Yinchang village to find the elders and ask for help from the elders. It is normal to ask elders for help when you have problems, isn't it? They are all still a group of babies. Su Qingni, he. Before setting off to return to Yinchang village, Su Qingni buried the nether stone next to the teleportation array. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 681 Game World 16. Before setting off to return to Yinshang Village, Su Qingni buried the nether stone next to the teleportation array. She was very happy in her heart. This time of crossing, at least the underworld could control 2 more worlds. The elders of Yinshang Village did not expect that the younger generation actually found a way to go to the real world, and they were all very surprised. With doubts and inexplicable complex emotions, all the villagers of Yinshang Village went out to the teleportation array. The teleporter was too complicated, and even the bookstore owner Lao Wang, who is the most knowledgeable about the array in the village, could not repair the teleportation array. So, the whole village lived next to the teleportation array and studied the teleportation array together. Simply, everyone built this place into Yinshang Village number 2. The teleportation array was not completed, but the general outline of the village was completed. Everyone here felt like they had returned to Yinshang Village outside Hangzhou City. Except that there was no huge banyan tree in the village here. Time was spent in research. Su Qingni did not participate in the research of the teleportation array. The latest baby of Su's mother has been born, and it is a boy. Not long after Su's mother gave birth to the child, she and Su's father participated in the research of the teleportation array, leaving the youngest son to Su Qingni to take care of. Su Qingni has taken care of many children, and now she is also very good at taking care of babies. She takes the baby to the village chief every 2 days to listen to the news from the outside world. Although the village chief has been in seclusion, the intelligence network in his hands is still there, and the news from the outside world can be passed to the village chief at any time. The village chief had people keep an eye on Huangfu Jingxian and Feng's hero early in the morning, and now the most news received is from this group of people. From the village chief, Su Qingni knew that Huangfu Jingxian and Feng's hero had become a couple who were inseparable, and Feng's hero had a deep affection for Huangfu Jingxian. It seemed that Huangfu Jingxian's goal would be achieved soon. After a while, Su Qingni heard the cheers of her friends, and came to the teleportation array with the baby in her arms, and was immediately grabbed by Su Qingni's arm. Su Qingni excitedly shouted to Su Qingni, "Second sister, it's fixed, the teleportation array is fixed. The teleportation array is fixed, and we can go to the real world." The young people are eager to try, and the older generation frowned and hesitated. However, when the teleportation array was activated to go to the real world 3 days later, there were still many older people standing in the teleportation array, including Lao Wang, Lao Song, Master Yi, the former leader of the demon cult, Dr. Wan, the village chief by Xiaoshen. Su's father and mother were worried about their newborn son, so they gave up this action reluctantly. However, all 4 children of the Su family participated in it. Su Qingni stood in the crowd, quietly waiting for the teleportation array to start. I wonder what the real world will be like? She has a feeling that the real world may not be the same world as the world Feng's hero is in. White light flashed in front of her eyes, and Su Qingni and the people in the teleportation array disappeared in front of the remaining villagers. At the same time, Feng's hero took Huangfu Jingxian's hand and asked him, "Are you ready?" Huangfu Jingxian nodded and said with a smile, "Don't worry, I've been ready for a long time." He had been preparing for this moment for a long time, much longer than Feng's hero knew. "Relax, I won't let anything happen to you," Feng's hero said, and pressed the exit game button on the game panel. 2 white lights flashed, and Feng's hero and Huangfu Jingxian disappeared in the courtyard. Si Tuangayu and his companions came out from their hiding place, looking at the 2 disappeared places, their emotions turned upside down. He succeeded. Successful. The companions were not sure, with a little worry in their tone, but more excitement. They should believe Huangfu Jingxian. In reality, Huangfu Jingxian opened his eyes and saw a very strange room. Except for the bed and the table, he could barely recognize them. He had never seen the other furnishings in the room and did not recognize them. Huangfu Jingxian couldn't help but open his mouth slightly. Now in this strange and unfamiliar environment, he really came to the real world. Great! After being surprised, Huangfu Jingxian couldn't help but get excited, and his heartbeat accelerated a lot. "Welcome to my world." Feng's hero's joyful voice sounded beside Huangfu Jingxian's ears. Huangfu Jingxian looked at Feng's hero, and the excitement and joy made him feel that Feng's hero was much more pleasing to the eye, and the disgust for a Feng's hero hidden in the deepest part of his heart was less at this time. Seeing that she brought him to the real world, he could be gentler on her in the future and save Feng's hero's life. Feng's hero didn't know that Huang Fujingshan hated her in his heart, and she didn't know that Huang Fujingshan even wanted her life. Feng's hero was very happy now, so she wanted to take Huang Fujingshan out to show off. Huang Fujingshan responded to Feng's hero with a smile, and endured Feng's hero's touching him. Now the goal has only been achieved in a small part, and most of it has not been achieved, and he still has to rely on this woman. Patience. Patience. Feng's hero took out the modern clothes that she had prepared for Huang Fujingshan, urged Huang Fujingshan to change his clothes, took Huang Fujingshan's arm out of the villa, and took him shopping. Huang Fujingshan looked at the cars driving on the street, the tall buildings, the huge advertising screens, and he was shocked. It was so different. The real world was so different from the world he was originally in. Feng's hero introduced everything she saw to Huang Fujingshan in his ear, and her tone was full of boasting, but the expression on her face was even more boastful and proud. This boasting and pride was not directed at Huang Fujingshan, but at everyone else except the two of them. Huang Fujingshan's appearance was too dazzling, and his temperament was even more outstanding, attracting the attention of all passers-by. The girl's eyes were glued to Huang Fujingshan, full of admiration, and occasionally fell on Feng's hero. They were extremely jealous and wished to replace Feng's hero. Feng's hero was proud. No matter how jealous you are, it's useless. Such a good-looking and excellent man belongs to her, only her. Because the gazes of passers-by were too intense, the two people ignored the other suspicious gazes behind them. The people staring at Feng's hero were very confused. They were sure that Feng's hero was the only one in the villa, so where did this man come from? He seemed to appear suddenly. Does he have a great relationship with Feng's hero's secret? These people immediately passed the news back to their department, and the department began to look for information about Huang Fujingshan. Unfortunately, no matter how they searched, they could not find any information about Huang Fujingshan. These people were not frustrated, but became more excited, and included Huang Fujingshan in the scope of observation and research. Chapter 682 Game Worlds VI. Because Huang Fujingshan appeared too suddenly and mysteriously, those people were worried that Huang Fujingshan had some mysterious power, so they did not dare to keep a close eye on him like they did on Feng's hero, but used high-tech means. This made Huang Fujingshan, who was not familiar with modern technology, not know that he had been targeted. The people who targeted them did not act rashly, and they wanted to see what kind of surprise Feng's hero and Huang Fujingshan would bring them. Su Qingni felt her eyelids heavy, her body and limbs cold and stiff, and it felt like her mind was imprisoned in a dead body. What's going on? Did she find an accident during the transmission and her body was dead? At this moment, Su Qingni heard a mechanical sound. Ding! The brainwave 5687 was detected to return to the body and began to thaw its body. Then, Su Qingni felt the cold gradually recede, and her body and limbs began to warm up and gradually regain consciousness. After about 10 minutes, Su Qingni felt that her body had returned to normal and opened her eyelids. The first thing that came into view was a transparent lid. So, was she in a cabinet or a box before? Su Qingni stretched out her hands and pushed the lid. She originally thought it would be difficult to push it open, but perhaps after thawing, the mechanical sound contacted the lid lock, and she easily pushed the lid open and sat up. Sure enough, she was lying in a rectangular box before, and all around her were the same boxes, so dense that she couldn't count them. At this time, the lids of a few boxes were also opened, and the people inside sat up. Looking at those people, they all looked familiar. Second sister. Hearing the familiar voice, Su Qingni turned her head and saw a young man in his 20s staring at him in confusion. His face was very familiar, but he was a few years older than Su Qingni. Qingni. Su Qingni called Su Qingni's name and stood up from the box. Su Qingni also stood up and ran to Su Qingni's side. Second sister, is this the real world? Why is it different from what I imagined? What's the matter with so many boxes? Do you know? Su Qingni asked a series of questions, and it was obvious that the current situation made him very confused and scared. I have some guesses. Let's talk about it after everyone gathers together. Su Qingni patted the young man's arm, comforting the young man as she usually comforted her younger brother. Let's go meet the big brothers and sisters and the village chief in this world. Not long after, everyone who came out of the village gathered. Everyone's face did not change much, but their ages were more or less different. The one with the most difference was the village chief. In their world, the village chief was already an old man in his 60s, but in this real world, the village chief was a young man in his 20s. Seeing each other's appearance, everyone was surprised. This real world is so weird, what is going on? Su Qingni expressed the doubts in everyone's heart. Su Qingni said, second sister has some guesses. Everyone's eyes were cast on Su Qingni. Su Qingni said, the world we originally lived in was an illusory world, so it should be created by people in the real world, just like a created illusion. The illusory world cannot allow us to enter physically, so we who have been living in the illusory world are actually spiritual bodies, which is what we often call souls. And these boxes in the real world contain our bodies. This explanation made everyone feel incredible but reasonable. Seeing the huge number of boxes, everyone was shocked. They didn't know what the people in the real world were like, why they didn't live in the real world, and created an illusory world so that everyone could live in the illusory world. I think there should be an answer there for us. Su Qingni pointed to a tall building in the distance. She intuitively felt that it should be the control center. What are we waiting for? Let's go there quickly. Lao Song was about to run to the building, but he found something wrong just as he moved. Where was his superb Qinggong? Why did it shrink a lot? His strength also shrunk. Now his strength is less than 1/10 of his original strength. What's going on? Lao Song screamed. As Lao Song called out, everyone also discovered something strange in their bodies. I think, because this is the real world, we can't bring out all the strength in the virtual world, we can only bring out a part of it. Su Qingni said, don't be discouraged, practice hard in the future, and your strength will come back. Everyone sighed, it was all they could do. They were used to being strong, and now they felt like a weak chicken, so uncomfortable. Su Qingni looked up at the tall building and calculated the distance between them and the building. It was quite far. With their current light skills, it would take at least several days to get there. They retracted their side and patrolled around, and finally found a bigger box among a pile of boxes. This is not a box, judging from the appearance, it's a car. Having seen the technology of the interstellar world, Su Qingni could recognize that this car was not an ordinary car, but a flying car. Go there. Su Qingni led a group of people to the flying car. What is this? Everyone circled around the flying car. This is a flying car, a tool for people to travel. Su Qingni also circled around the flying car, studying how to open the door and let everyone get on. What is a flying car? Su Qingni asked. Su Qingni said, just think of it as a flying carriage, but without horses pulling it. Su Qingni asked, Qingni, how do you know all this? You seem to know something about the real world. Su Qingni said casually, well, after I woke up, some information naturally appeared in my head. But this information is very messy and there is no focus. At least why the real world is like this, I don't know. I just know how to operate some tools. As she spoke, Su Qingni had already found a way to open the door of the flying car. She immediately opened the door and let everyone get on. Everyone trusted Su Qingni very much, and they all got on and found a seat to sit down. Su Qingni walked to the driver's seat and sat down. After a study, she started the flying car. It's flying, it's really flying. Everyone was amazed and leaned on the window glass to look out. Unfortunately, all they could see were the densely packed small boxes in the tall building. For a moment, everyone's excitement about flying in the air was much less. Chapter 683 Game Worlds VIE. The speed of the flying car was very fast. It took only more than 10 minutes to reach the tall building. It was not clear how high the building was from a distance. When it was close, it was found that the building was very high, about 200 or 300 floors. Everyone opened their mouths wide because of the height, and they could not close them for a long time. After a long time, everyone came back to their senses from the shock. Master Yi sighed. Li Bai has a poem saying, the dangerous building is 100 feet high, and the hands can pick the stars. I dare not speak loudly, for fear of alarming the people in the sky. The tall building in front of us is more than 100 feet high, much higher than the dangerous building in Li Bai's poem. Dr. Wan said, it's a pity that there are no stars above our heads. Everyone looked up when they heard it. Above their heads was something like a roof, and they could not see the sky outside. Let's go in and find the answer first. The former leader of the demon cult said to everyone. Su Qingni walked to the door of the building and was about to study how to open the door when she heard a mechanical sound. Perform a full body scan. The scan results show that the person coming is a local resident of Blue Star, not an outsider, and the door is open. A huge door opened in front of everyone. Everyone was startled by the way it opened automatically, but they quickly regained their composure and followed Su Qingni into the building. This is the real world, a world they don't understand at all. Don't be surprised if something strange happens. Did Su Qingni, who has a certain understanding of the real world, not be surprised? Maybe these things are common in the real world. When you walk into the door, you will see a very empty hall. In the middle of the hall, there is a 1-meter-high platform with something like a laptop on the platform. Su Qingni walked to the platform, studied the things on it, and began to operate it. Then, a huge light screen popped up in the air in front of everyone, and a picture appeared on the light screen, and a sound followed. Children who woke up early, welcome to console number 009. I am AGU, the artificial intelligence of the console, and I will answer your questions. Next, please watch our video carefully and you will know all the truth. Everyone immediately focused their attention and stared at the screen without blinking. The video began to play. As the video played, everyone finally understood the truth of the whole world. It turned out that the planet where the real world was located was called Blue Star, a technologically advanced planet. The people on the planet lived a stable and peaceful life. Even if there were minor frictions between the countries on the planet, people's lives were still good. However, a natural disaster came. Similar to a science fiction movie The Wandering Earth that Su Qingni had seen on Earth, the sun in the galaxy where Blue Star was located was about to explode, and the result of the explosion would also destroy Blue Star. The senior officials and scientists on Blue Star made the same decision as the Earthlings in The Wandering Earth, taking Blue Star to wander, looking for a galaxy suitable for the survival of Blue Star people, and settling down there. However, unlike The Wandering Earth, although Blue Star built an underground city, it did not let the Blue Star people live in the underground city, but froze all people and other creatures, and projected human brain waves into the holographic game world, allowing everyone to live in a virtual world. People live and grow up in the virtual world. After death, they are not really dead, but are reborn after the reincarnation process. Generation after generation, reincarnation after reincarnation, people's memory of the real world has almost disappeared. They think that the virtual world they live in is the real world and forget the real world. The Blue Star in the real world is still wandering in the universe. It has been wandering for more than 1,000 years, and still has not found a galaxy suitable for the survival of the Blue Star and the Blue Star people. Before Su Qingni and his party woke up and returned to the real world, there were several groups of people who woke up and returned to the real world. After all, there are many smart people in the world, but they are not the only ones who found something wrong with the world, and they are not the only ones who found the teleportation array. However, after being popularized by artificial intelligence about the situation in the real world, those people all chose to continue to be frozen and their consciousness returned to the virtual world. In addition, there is more than one such control center, and there are at least thousands of them in the whole Blue Star. Everyone looked at each other, and their mood could not calm down for a long time. Is this the truth of the world? That's it. It turns out that they were not deceived or imprisoned by others, they were just protected. What should I do? Just like those people before, go back to the virtual world and forget everything in the real world. When Blue Star stops wandering, they will unfreeze with others and return to the real world. However, they are a little unwilling in their hearts. But what can they do even if they are unwilling? This is the best choice, isn't it? The village chief and Master Yi and other older generations sighed together. Although they look young, their mentality is that of the elderly. Compared with the real world, they now miss the virtual world more and want to return to the virtual world to live a peaceful, happy and free life. The older generation made a decision immediately and looked at the younger generation. After thinking about it, the younger generation also chose to return to the virtual world, but Su Qingni chose to stay in the real world. Su Qingni has an inexplicable trust in Su Qingni. Seeing that Su Qingni chose to stay, he also decided to stay. Su Qingni and Su Qingni were worried about their younger brothers and sisters, so they also chose to stay. The village chief and others could not convince Su Qingni and the other four, so they had to leave helplessly. Su Qingni drove the flying cart to send everyone back to their frozen box. Seeing these people being frozen and listening to the mechanical voice saying that their brain waves have entered the virtual world, Su Qingni and the other three breathed a sigh of relief. Back in the flying car, Su Qingni drove her brother, sister and brother back to the control center. Qingni, what are you going to do if you stay? Su Qingni was very confused and did not approve of Su Qingni's choice. But who let this be her sister? Let's stay. Anyway, they can go back to the freeze and return to the virtual world at any time, so let's play with this little girl in the real world for a while longer. Although there is nothing fun in this real world. I have an idea. Su Qingni said. This was an idea that suddenly popped up after she knew the truth of the real world. If this idea can be realized, maybe she can save the three worlds. What idea? Su Qingni asked. Su Qingni did not answer but asked, have you seen Feng's hero and Huangfu Jingxin in this world? Of course, they did not see them. Su Qingni continued to ask, do you think Feng's hero is someone who would live in such a world? The three people from the Su family recalled Feng's hero's temperament. How could such a person live in such a desolate world, with no one to talk and play with her? This person would go crazy in the real world in no time. Chapter 684 Game World 19. The three members of the Su family had an idea at the same time, and they all looked at Su Qingni. The real world where Feng's hero is not the same as our real world. Su Qingni said. Su Qingni nodded, I think the galaxy where Feng's hero is should be a very stable and peaceful galaxy, which can adapt to Blue Star and stop wandering. The eyes of Su Qingni and the other two lit up at once. This idea is simply great. If Blue Star's wandering stops, all the people of Blue Star will be thawed, and Blue Star will be revived. At that time, won't everyone be able to run between the real world and the virtual world? But Su Qingni frowned, and the question came, we don't know where Feng's hero's world is. If we don't know, we can check it. Su Qingni said. How to check? Su Qingni asked. Su Qingni, use the virtual world to investigate. I think there are devices in the control center that operate and monitor the virtual world. We can use these devices to track the trajectory and coordinates of Feng's hero entering the virtual world. The three members of the Su family said that they didn't quite understand. Su Qingni said it didn't matter, they could learn. The control center is more than 200 stories high because there are many data rooms and study rooms inside, which are loaded with data and knowledge in all fields on the blue planet. The three members of the Su family can happily swim in the ocean of knowledge. The three members of the Su family. It's so refreshing. Pain and happiness. Su Qingni chose 3 different study rooms for them according to their personalities and hobbies, and the 3 study rooms have different focuses. After arranging the 3 people, Su Qingni came to the highest floor. Sure enough, this is where the operation and monitoring equipment of the virtual world is located. Su Qingni has a huge amount of knowledge in her head. These equipment can't stump her. After studying for a while, Su Qingni can operate these equipment fluently. Su Qingni began to look for Feng's hero. After a while, the figures of Feng's hero and Huangfu Jingxin were found in the picture. These 2 people are in the virtual world, so it is easy to locate them. The 2 people are still affectionate, and Su Qingni is not afraid of getting needle eyes. She started a wave of exploration towards Feng's hero and analyzed the information on her. The analysis process will not be too short. Fortunately, Feng's hero will not be offline in a short time, giving Su Qingni time to study her. On the other side, Feng's hero shuddered. Huangfu Jingxin, who is still a devoted wife, asked Feng's hero what happened. Feng's hero looked around and said, I feel like someone is watching me, as if he is thinking about me. Huangfu Jingxin hurriedly checked around and found no suspicious people, so he said, you are too suspicious, I don't find anyone suspicious. Maybe. Feng's hero opened the monitoring map of the game, and sure enough, there was no one else on it. Maybe I was too suspicious. Feng's hero put down her heart and enjoyed Huangfu Jingxin's gentle care for her. The 2 went to explore the secret realm near the capital. With the help of Huangfu Jingxin, Feng's hero was promoted to another level. Feng's hero followed Huangfu Jingxin contentedly to exit the game and return to the real world, but she didn't know that the fluctuations when they left were caught by the monitoring controlled by Su Qingni, and they found the real world along the trajectory they left. Su Qingni thus obtained the coordinates of the Earth in the real world. After giving the coordinates of the Earth to 009 for analysis, a brand new star map appeared on the light screen. The star map showed the distance between Blue Star and Earth. The distance between the 2 was surprisingly close. If all the driving devices on Blue Star were activated and moved forward at the maximum speed, Blue Star would be able to enter the Milky Way in at most half a year and find a suitable place for Blue Star in the Milky Way. Su Qingni smiled and began to send instructions. The direction of Blue Star's advance changed and its speed increased by 20 times. Su Qingni and the other two stayed in the study room for 5 months. During these 5 months, they studied day and night, sleeping only 6 hours a day, and only drank the so-called nutrient solution provided by 009 to fill their stomachs. This nutrient solution is said to be very nutritious. Drinking only 1 bottle a day can provide the body with a day's consumption without eating. When they came out of the study room, they had mastered all the knowledge of Blue Star from elementary school to university, as well as some other convenient knowledge, but they had not yet learned any more advanced knowledge. They thought about coming out to relax and rest for a while before devoting more energy to the next stage of study. However, when they came out, they heard the shocking news Su Qingni gave them. Have you found the coordinates of Feng's hero's world? Can Blue Star stop wandering? This is simply great news. It's been more than 1,000 years. Blue Star has finally found a new home that can accommodate it and its children. The eyes of the 3 people were moist. The information they saw in the study room made them feel attached to Blue Star as their home. No, it should be said that they originally had feelings for Blue Star, but the reincarnations in the virtual world made them forget this feeling, and now they are just picking it up again. The 3 people were so happy that they almost jumped up and danced. Su Qingni smiled and watched them vent their anger. After calming down a little, she said to them, "Now Blue Star is flying to the Milky Way. There is nothing for us to do outside now. Why don't we go back to the virtual world and tell the good news to our parents and the village chief uncle and others, so that they can be happy too?" Yes, how could they forget this matter? The village chief uncle and others chose to return to the virtual world because they had no choice. Now that there is good news, they don't have to make such a helpless choice, and they will definitely be very happy. Moreover, they also miss their parents and little brother. Although their parents were only their parents in the virtual world and might have nothing to do with them in the real world, they were still their parents, the parents who raised them and taught them skills. The affection between them was real and would not be eliminated for other reasons. Well, let's go back quickly and tell our parents about this news. Su Qingni agreed. Su Qingni and Su Qingni also agreed, but Su Qingni still muttered, "If we return to the virtual world, we can't continue to learn the knowledge of Blue Star. You are stupid." Su Qingni stretched out his right hand and gave Su Qingni a slap on the head. "We can let our parents return to Blue Star and learn the knowledge of Blue Star with us." "That's right," Su Qingni said stupidly, holding his forehead. "Maybe they don't believe it." Su Qingni smiled and said, "My younger brother is still too young, and my parents will definitely not feel at ease leaving him alone in the virtual world." Chapter 685 Game World 20. My little brother is still too young. My parents will definitely not feel comfortable leaving him alone in the virtual world. Su Qingni and the other 2 laughed. My parents will feel comfortable leaving my little brother to you to take care of him. Su Qingni. It's really possible. The 4 of them chatted and laughed and returned to their own boxes. Now they all have the basic knowledge of Blue Star and know how to operate these boxes. They changed the default options of the boxes, cancelled the freezing option, and entered the virtual world. Back in the virtual world, seeing the flowers and plants here, the 4 people felt familiar. I think everyone in this world will be like them. Even if they can live on Blue Star, they will not give up the virtual world. Back to Yinsheng village, the villagers saw them, and their faces showed helplessness and emotion. I think they thought that the 4 Su family members had also given up their lives in the real world. Su Qingni smiled at everyone and said, "We are not coming back in disgrace. We are here to tell everyone that we have found a good place to settle Blue Star and stop Blue Star from wandering. Everyone can return to the real world." There was a silence. Then, everyone gathered around and asked them for details. The 4 people told the villagers about Su Qingni's series of operations. The villagers all looked at Su Qingni with admiration. They thought in their hearts, before everyone on Blue Star was frozen, Su Qingni should have been a great person, right? Perhaps she was the scientist mentioned by Su Qingni and the other 2, and maybe she was also a participant in the entire Blue Star wandering plan. Most of the people in Yinsheng village chose to return to Blue Star. They learned about the study room from Su Qingni. They wanted to return to Blue Star as soon as possible while everyone else was still in the virtual world. use the study room, and learn the knowledge on Blue Star. If they choose to wake up with others, wouldn't the study room be in short supply? How can you live well on Blue Star if you can't learn the knowledge of Blue Star? As expected by the three siblings, Su's father and mother left Su's IOD to Su Qingni to take care of him, and follow their three children to Blue Star. Su Qingni became the king of children in the village, and all the children under 10 years old in the village were taken care of by her. She was the only adult over 10 years old in the whole village. Fortunately, the older children helped take care of the younger ones, so Su Qingni didn't have to be in a rush. A month later, the villagers returned to the village. It turned out that one of them had touched a certain control system in the study room and found that the study room could actually be connected to the virtual world. After the connection, they could also learn the knowledge on Blue Star in the virtual world. The villagers came back, and Su Qingni was also relieved. She left a group of children to their relatives. Su Qingni went to find the village chief and asked him to pass on the affairs of Blue Star to the leaders of the major sects and major forces through his intelligence network. It took only 2 days for the news to be passed on, and the leaders of all forces gathered outside the hidden saint village. The village chief took Su Qingni out of the village and appeared in front of the leaders of these forces. These people stared at the two people with burning eyes, looking forward to their next move. No one doubted the reliability of the news. Not to mention the few words passed down within their own forces, even the identity of the village chief by Xiaosheng, the information he gave would not be false. They also understood that since Bai Xiaosheng had revealed such news to them, it was very likely that they had already known how to leave the virtual world and would take them away from the virtual world. Are all the people here? Let's go, the village chief said, leading a group of people to the location of the teleportation array. Su Qingni looked at the tens of thousands of people, thought about it, and returned to the village to wake up Su Qingni and other young people from their studies, and called out the control panel with them. After choosing the entry mode in reality, the control panel appeared. They no longer had to go through the teleportation array, and could directly choose to exit the game on the control panel, and they would be able to return to consciousness and wake up in Lanzing's body. After Lanzing woke up, a group of young people immediately took action, driving a flying cart to different dungeon areas to pick up those who had just come out of the virtual world and were still very unfamiliar with the environment of Lanzing. There were tens of thousands of people who woke up this time, and it was impossible for them to be in the same area. Su Qingni and other young people were the guides of these people, taking them to the control centers of different areas, letting them understand Lanzing, learn how to operate their own virtual world connectors, and learn the knowledge on Lanzing. The area Su Qingni went to was far from Area 009. Fortunately, the speed of the flying car was very fast. The maximum speed of the flying car was more than 20 times the speed of sound. It took Su Qingni half an hour to reach that area. There were more than a dozen people who had awakened in this area. Some of them were close and were gathering together to analyze the current situation, and their tone was full of disappointment. Some of them were far away and could only look around blankly, with not only disappointment but also fear on their faces. The appearance of the flying car startled everyone and they stared at it nervously. Su Qingni popped her head out of the window and said to these people, "I am Su Qingni from Yinsheng village. I am the first group of people to return to Blue Star. I know the situation of Blue Star better than you do. I will take you to a place. When you get there, you will understand what the situation of Blue Star is like. Now, get in the car." After taking all the people who had awakened in this area onto the flying car, Su Qingni took them to the control center of this area. Entering the gate of the control center, the layout of the interior hall was indeed the same as that of the control center of Area 009. This area is numbered 128. Su Qingni directly awakened the number 128 artificial intelligence and asked it to play the video to others. After watching the video, the 10 people all had straight eyes and did not accept the truth for a long time. Su Qingni was not in a hurry and waited quietly on the side. She believed that these people would accept the truth soon. After all, these people have strong psychological qualities. They are not ordinary people. If they have poor psychological qualities, they will not become the top leaders of major forces. Sure enough, even the last person who accepted the truth took only half an hour to recover. Su Qingni then began to teach them how to modify their consciousness connectors to connect the study room with the virtual world. Seeing that these people have mastered the basic operations, Su Qingni drove back to Area 009 and returned to the virtual world. The friends have already returned to the virtual world, and most of the people from the major forces have also returned to the virtual world. They chose to return to their familiar places to learn knowledge. There is no popularity on Blue Star and it makes them very unfamiliar. They don't want to return to Blue Star to live for the time being. Chapter 686 Game World 21. Moreover, they couldn't give up the power they had been operating in the virtual world for so long. How to let the disciples and subordinates in the power know the existence of Blue Star and remain loyal to the power after returning to Blue Star is a big problem and needs to be handled with caution. Su Qingni didn't care how the people from these forces arranged it. Anyway, they had been told about the teleportation array and the basic operation of the consciousness connector. It was their business to do it and it had nothing to do with her. Su Qingni handed over the matter of arranging ordinary people to return to Blue Star to the village chief and return to reality. Blue Star has entered the Milky Way and is now looking for the most suitable orbit for it to operate in the Milky Way. After an overall scan and analysis of the Milky Way, Blue Star automatically chose a newly born galaxy 2 galaxies away from the solar system and settled in this galaxy. The overall condition of this galaxy is very similar to the galaxy where Blue Star was originally located. After Blue Star chose the most suitable orbit to operate, the environment on the surface of Blue Star began to change and gradually recovered. Su Qingni saw the changes on the surface of Blue Star from the light screen and smiled with relief. She walked out of the 009 control center and drove to the 001 control center. The 001 control center is the most special of all the control centers. It is not open to the public and is not as high as other control centers. This center has only 10 floors. Except for the monitoring system of the virtual world, the other floors are all frozen people. These people did not choose to enter the virtual center. They all chose to sleep. Among them are the highest leaders of the Blue Star Alliance, the top talents in various fields of Blue Star, the best scientists, and the creators of the virtual center. When Blue Star stops wandering and moves normally, and the surface of Blue Star begins to recover, the 001 system will thaw these people and wake them up. These top talents who have not lost their memories will come out to appease ordinary people and lead ordinary people to start building Blue Star again. These people thought that Blue Star had found a suitable home by themselves, but they didn't expect that someone woke up and intervened, which led to the Blue Star stopping wandering. For Su Qingni, these people were surprised, admired and grateful. They expressed a warm welcome to Su Qingni's arrival. Su Qingni had a deep conversation with the top leaders and scientists of the Alliance, and told them the whole story in detail. These people knew the existence of the Earth, and knew that it was because someone on Earth entered the virtual world by chance that Blue Star seized the opportunity and stopped wandering. For this, the people of Blue Star are grateful. The attitude of the people is to communicate with the Earth in a friendly and peaceful manner, and not to bully others just because Blue Star's technology is higher than that of the Earth. After all, the Earth is also the benefactor of Blue Star, benefactor of the Earth. They will show sincerity and higher technology than the Earth to help the Earth develop together. Su Qingni was very satisfied with this. The top leaders of the Alliance invited Su Qingni to join and lead the people of Blue Star in the construction of Blue Star. Su Qingni readily agreed and followed the scientists to the surface, running around on the surface, and looking for the extremely yin place by the way. The consciousness connector to enter the virtual world can be disassembled from the box. Su Qingni carries the consciousness connector with her and can return to the virtual world at any time. Everyone in the virtual world knew about Blue Star. The moment the senior executives and scientists of Blue Star woke up, the video that Su Qingni and the others had seen began to play in the sky of the virtual world. Everyone in the virtual world could see the video as soon as they looked up, and they also knew the truth of the world. Most people chose to wake up, because the video mentioned at the end that they could return to the virtual world at any time after waking up. Some people were timid and afraid to leave their familiar environment, so they did not choose to return to their own bodies on Blue Star. However, they still chose to learn about Blue Star. When they know more about Blue Star in the future, they will choose to return to Blue Star. There are two people who did not see the video, Feng Zhiro and Huangfu Jingxin. These two people left the game and returned to reality. They have not entered the virtual world for a long time. Huangfu Jingxin's companions are very worried about Huangfu Jingxin, especially after knowing the truth of Blue Star. They are even more worried about Huangfu Jingxin. There was no other awakened person on Blue Star before, so Feng Zhiro should not be a Blue Star person. Where is she from? Where did she take Huangfu Jingxin? Huangfu Jingxin would not be harmed by Feng's hero, right? Si Tuangai was worried and regretful. If I had known that the virtual world and Blue Star would be connected one day, I should not have let Huangfu get close to Feng's hero. She felt so uncomfortable watching the man she liked trying to please her sister's other woman. For their purpose, she endured it, but in the end, they actually found the wrong method in target. If Huangfu doesn't show up again, let's go find those people in Yincheng village. The man nicknamed Shitao said. Why find them? Shui Yang asked in confusion. Shitao said, they should have discovered the matter of Blue Star. The others understood. Yeyu said, since they can discover the secrets of the virtual world and Blue Star, I think they have some means, and maybe they can save Huangfu. Si Tuangai jumped up, I'll go to Yincheng village now. Shui Yang hurriedly grabbed her, wait a few more days. Si Tuangai shook off Shui Yang's hand, I can't wait any longer. After that, he performed Qinggong and ran out. Yeyu and others couldn't stop him, so they had to follow him. Su Qingni found the extremely yin place on Blue Star. Just after she buried the netherstone, she received a call from Su Qingni. After answering the call, a half-foot square light screen appeared on her wrist, and the image of Su Qingni appeared on the light screen. He is still in the virtual world, but he can contact Su Qingni in reality. This is the technological power of Blue Star. Second sister, Si Tuangai and his people found the hidden saint village, and they asked us to help them find Huangfu Jingxin. What happened to Huangfu Jingxin? Su Qingni asked. She was doing two things at the same time, talking to Su Qingni while doing other things. Around her, other scientists were very busy. Blue Star has changed a lot. All vitality has been restored, infrastructure has sprung up, and modern cities have appeared on the Earth at the fastest speed. This is also the result of the scientific power of Blue Star. Su Qingni replied, Huangfu Jingxin followed Feng's hero to Feng's hero's world and has not returned to the virtual world for many days. Normally, he would return to the virtual world to contact Si Tuangai and others once a day. But now that so many days have passed and he has not returned, Si Tuangai and others think that something has happened to Huangfu Jingxin. Chapter 687 Game World 22. Has this been discovered by the relevant departments on Earth? Su Qingni pinched her chin and thought. Feng's hero is not a cautious person, and there is a high possibility that she will be discovered. It is possible that Huangfu Jingxin has been implicated by this woman. Su Qingni said, you ask them to wait, I will go to investigate and see what happened to Huangfu Jingxin. Su Qingni entered the command on the optical computer beside her. When Su Qingni located the coordinates of the Earth through 009, she took the opportunity to tamper with Feng's hero's Goldfinger game access device, allowing her to monitor Feng's hero's movements through Feng's hero's game access device. Soon, the picture was transmitted to the optical computer in front of Su Qingni. Su Qingni looked at the picture above, and Su Qingni knew what happened to Feng's hero and Huangfu Jingxin. Sure enough, they were discovered. The two were invited to have tea by the relevant departments, and the game access device was also taken away by scientists for research. Although Huangfu Jingxin wanted to resist and did not want to surrender, he had been on Earth for a long time and learned a lot from the internet. He knew that no matter how high his personal force value was, it could not be higher than the power of hot weapons. Being pointed at with a hot weapon, Huangfu Jingxin could only follow them obediently. Fortunately, the people in the relevant departments were very polite to them. They did not slice them for research or anything. They just asked them to provide some hair and blood to the researchers. The rest was to ask them what the virtual world was like and to get the cultivation method from them. Huangfu Jingxin is now considering whether to cooperate with the relevant departments. Su Qingni contacted Su Qingni and sent a video of the scene on Earth to Su Qingni. Su Qingni played the video to Si Tuangai and others. Si Tuangai gritted his teeth in anger. It was Feng's hero, that woman who implicated Huangfu Jingxin. They were slightly relieved, as long as Huangfu Jingxin was still alive. Si Tuangai asked Su Qingni to ask Su Qingni to rescue Huangfu Jingxin. Su Qingni agreed. Blue Star and Earth will meet after all, and the matter of Huangfu Jingxin can be used as a lead. After turning off the communicator, Su Qingni contacted the top leader of the alliance. When the leader heard that Huangfu Jingxin was discovered by the Earthlings, he agreed to Su Qingni's suggestion and immediately sent people to the solar system to establish diplomatic relations with the Earth, and brought Huangfu Jingxin back from the Earth. As for the fact that Huangfu Jingxin leaked the skills in the game to the Earthlings, the Blue Star leaders said they didn't care. These skills were developed by scientists on Blue Star based on the physique of the Blue Starlings and are suitable for the Blue Starlings to practice. Even though the Earthlings are very similar to the Blue Starlings, the effect of practicing these skills is not as strong as that of the Blue Starlings. Just like Feng's hero, she can only bring out 1% of the power in the virtual world, while Huangfu Jingxin can bring out 1/10 of the strength in the virtual world after going to Earth. There is a tenfold gap between the two. Even if all the people on Earth practice Huangfu Jingxin's skills, their strength cannot exceed that of the Blue Starlings. Soon, a starship sent to Earth to conclude peace and friendship was ready to set off. As the leader, Su Qingni has 20 men, 10 fighters, and 10 negotiation experts. In addition, when they heard that Su Qingni was going to Earth, Si Tonggayu, Su Qingni and others expressed their desire to go together. Su Qingni brought all 3 brothers and sisters of the Su family with her to broaden their horizons. As for Si Tonggayu's group, Su Qingni rejected Si Tonggayu and brought the quiet Yeu. Si Tonggayu was very unhappy, but Su Qingni ignored her, and she had no choice but to squat in the corner and sulk. On Earth, Huangfu Jingxin cooperated with people from relevant departments and taught the cultivation method to people from relevant departments. The condition was that people from relevant departments would study Feng's hero's game connector and then open the boundary between the virtual world and the real world, so that people from the virtual world could come to the real world. People from relevant departments refused. If people from another whole world came to the real world, wouldn't it be overcrowded and the entire Earth would be overcrowded? And the people who came were not ordinary people, but all of them had military power. Wouldn't the people on Earth be bullied by these outsiders, and in the end, the Earth might fall into the hands of these outsiders? The people on Earth firmly disagreed with this condition. Finally, Huangfu Jingxin took a step back and stopped people from the entire virtual world from coming. Then, could he let his friends and relatives come? The people in the relevant departments thought about it and agreed, but they required that the number of people should not exceed 50. Huangfu Jingxin also agreed. The two sides began to cooperate. Feng's hero was absorbed into the relevant department, and her game connector was taken away by the researchers. She could no longer enter the virtual world and could only teach people to practice in the real world. However, her strength was all obtained by upgrading the game. She only knew the practice method but not the reason. She didn't even know the relevant theories. How could she teach others? In the end, Feng's hero could only do nothing. She wanted to see Huangfu Jingxin, but Huangfu Jingxin didn't see her. Feng's hero was no longer useful, so how could Huangfu Jingxin see her? Huangfu Jingxin hated Feng's hero in his heart and wished he would never see her again. Feng's hero was sad and finally realized that she was being used by someone. She met a scumbag. Feng's hero cried so much that her colleagues felt sorry for her and lost their good impression of Huangfu Jingxin, the outsider scumbag. But there was no other way. He was an outsider friend and they had a cooperative relationship. They could only treat him politely and friendly, and could not help the victim beat up the scumbag. Feng's hero was sad for a long time. She realized that there was no possibility for her and Huangfu Jingxin, so she gave up Huangfu Jingxin. There are many good men. She is not an ancient woman who has to be faithful to one man. If Huangfu Jingxin doesn't want her, she can find other men. Humph, with her current appearance, current fighting power and economic conditions, what kind of handsome guy can she find? Well, there are many handsome guys in the relevant departments, maybe she can choose one from them. Just when the relevant departments were learning to practice with Huangfu Jingxin, and the researchers were studying the game access device, this game access device is very strange. Although the technology inside is much higher than that on Earth, it is not impossible to study it thoroughly if you work hard. But according to the judgment of the researchers, with the function of this access device, it is impossible to bring things in the game into reality. Why can Feng's hero bring things and people from the game world into reality? Is it the game access device or Feng's hero who is strange? Should they study Feng's hero? Su Qingni entered the solar system on a starship and gradually approached the Earth. The starship stopped near Mars, and Su Qingni asked someone to send a friendly message to the rabbit country on Earth. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 688 Game World 23. After receiving the friendly message from outer space, the leaders and scientists of Rabbit Country were stunned. There are really aliens? Exclamation mark. But they thought of the world where Huangfu Jingxin came from. It was an imaginary world, but it was created by someone. Who was the creator? Not an earthling, it must be an alien. Therefore, it is normal for aliens to exist, and they should not be too surprised. The people of Rabbit Country quickly replied to the message, asking about the aliens' origins and the purpose of their visit. The other party told their origins very friendly. They came from a very distant galaxy, and because of the explosion of a star, they came to their own planet to escape from the original galaxy. They found that the environment of the Milky Way was good and suitable for their survival, so they entered the Milky Way and settled in a galaxy near the solar system. At this moment, they came to visit their neighbors with full sincerity and established friendly and cooperative relations with their neighbors. The leaders and scientists of Rabbit Country were both amazed and worried after hearing this statement. They were amazed at the courage of the aliens on this blue planet, who actually wandered with the entire planet. They were also worried that the technology of the blue planet people was too much higher than that of the Earth. If they wanted to invade the Earth, could the Earth resist? The other party sent another message, telling the people on Earth not to worry, that the Blue Star people are pacifists and have never thought of invading the Earth. Besides, the Earth is still the life-saving ball of the Blue Star. If the coordinates of the Earth had not been located, the Blue Star would not have discovered the Milky Way suitable for the Blue Star to survive. Therefore, this time the Blue Star people came to visit the Earth, especially the Rabbit Country on Earth, with gratitude and sincerity. They also brought some scientific and technological knowledge that can be used on Earth to help the Earth develop together. The leaders and scientists of the Rabbit Country. Should they believe the words of the aliens? Are they really not donkeys? A group of people held a meeting on this issue. Everyone's opinion is that at least most of the words of the Blue Star people can be believed. With the technology of the Blue Star people, if they really want to invade the Earth, they don't need to say hello to them. Can't they just invade directly? With the current technology of the Earth, it is too difficult to resist. The friendliness of the Blue Star people should be true, and they can accept it, but they cannot lose their vigilance. Those who are not of my race must have different hearts. After receiving the technology provided by the Blue Star, we must seize the time to study and strive to catch up with the technology of the Blue Star as soon as possible. In this way, the Earth can have an equal dialogue with the Blue Star. After making the decision, the leaders of the Rabbit Country had people send friendly messages to the visitors from outer space, welcoming them. Su Qingni received the invitation, drove the starship into the star field above the Earth, and then took a small aircraft to land on Earth with a group of negotiation experts. The starship stopped carelessly above the Earth, and satellites from various countries captured its images, and people from other countries were stunned. Aliens. Aliens appeared. After receiving the news that aliens had landed in the Rabbit Country, the leaders of various countries could no longer sit still and hurried to the Rabbit Country by exclusive helicopters. The relevant departments of the Rabbit Country also received the news of the aliens' arrival. They didn't know that the aliens were related to someone among them until the superiors came to Huangfu Jingxin. Huangfu Jingxin was surprised. The aliens actually knew him? And they wanted to see him? A guess arose in his heart. When he saw someone who looked very similar to Yeu among the aliens, Huangfu Jingxin knew that his guess had come true. Yeu saw Huangfu Jingxin, hurried over, grabbed Huangfu Jingxin, and took him aside to talk. Huangfu Jingxin learned about Blue Star from the Yeu sky. He felt mixed emotions and didn't know whether to cry or laugh. If he had known about Blue Star earlier, he would not have sacrificed his appearance to seduce Feng's hero. Yeu said, "Your sacrifice is not useless. If the coordinates of the Earth had not been tracked and located from Feng's hero, Blue Star would not have stopped wandering." Huangfu Jingxin smiled sarcastically. Even if I hadn't seduced Feng's hero, Su Qingni and the others would have discovered that Feng's hero was different from us. Su Qingni would have tracked Feng's hero after returning to Blue Star. That's true. So, Huangfu Jingxin and them not only did not have any credit, but also brought trouble to Blue Star. If Huangfu Jingxin hadn't been discovered by the relevant departments on Earth, the people on Earth would have begun to study the virtual world. In order to prevent the virtual world from being damaged by the research of the people on Earth, and to rescue Huangfu Jingxin, Su Qingni and the others would not have taken any time to come to Earth to establish a so-called friendly alliance while Blue Star was still being restored and rebuilt. Blue Star can fully develop without the Earth knowing about their existence. Anyway, with the current technology of the Earth, the Blue Star cannot be discovered. The two looked at each other and sighed. Both sides were quite satisfied with this visit. Su Qingni and their sincerity made the Earthlings put down most of their vigilance, but their vigilance against outsiders would never be completely eliminated. Su Qingni left the Earthlings with technological information that was nearly 50 years ahead of the current technology of the Earth. She secretly gave the rabbit country more information than other countries, and left with Huangfu Jingxin. Feng's hero's game access device was also taken back by Su Qingni. The virtual world is one of the homes of the Blue Star people, and it is impossible for the Earthlings to study it. However, Su Qingni made a promise to the Earthlings. They will give the Earthlings a batch of Blue Star Universal Consciousness connectors, and welcome the Earthlings to visit and play in the virtual world, and even settle in the virtual world. The peaceful and friendly relations between Blue Star and Earth were formally concluded, and the two planets developed together. Hundreds of years later, they formed the Galactic Alliance to jointly face the alien races outside the Milky Way. Time goes back to the present. Su Qingni successfully returned to Blue Star with the starship. After a while, the construction on the surface of Blue Star is almost completed. Many Blue Star people have returned to the real world after learning the knowledge of Blue Star and started to work hard for the development of Blue Star. However, when it is time to rest, they will enter the virtual world and relax in the virtual world. The virtual world has become an indispensable part of their lives. There are only some young children left in the virtual world, but they can also learn the knowledge of Blue Star and understand Blue Star in the virtual world. When they reach the age of 15 in the game world, they can choose to return to their original bodies. During this period, the consciousness connector that Blue Star gave to the Earthlings has been sent to the Earth, and even the manufacturing technology of the consciousness connector has been sent over. After getting the consciousness connector, the people on the Earth also entered the virtual world. The virtual world did not become depressed because most of the Blue Star people left, but became more and more lively. Chapter 689 I am the God of Light. Su Qingni also buried the netherworld stone on the Earth in this world and returned to the underworld. This world has gained a lot. Not only did it harvest several pieces of the true spirit of the ancestral witch, but one of the true spirit fragments was also very large. That true spirit fragment was Feng's hero's game connector. Why was Feng's hero able to take things out of the virtual world? Why was she able to take Huangfu Jingxin out of the game? It was because of the power in this true spirit fragment. After taking away this true spirit fragment, the game connector was just an ordinary game connector, no different from other consciousness connectors on Blue Star. It could only import consciousness into the virtual world, and could no longer bring things from the virtual world into reality. Su Qingni handed these true spirit fragments to Empress Pingxin. When the Empress saw the largest true spirit fragment, she was extremely happy and told Su Qingni that with this true spirit fragment, most of Dijiang's true spirit could be resurrected. Soon, Dijiang would be able to wake up. Su Qingni smiled happily. How could she not be happy that what she did was effective? I am more motivated to do things, right? Su Qingni returned to her palace and began to practice and recover. Alice, I didn't meet Dong Huangtai in the last world, what a pity. I wonder if I will meet him in the next world? I am crossing the dividing line of another world. In this world, the body that Su Qingni possessed is amazing. It is actually a god. She traveled to the Western fantasy world, and the god she possessed was the God of Light, who is whipped as a villain in many fantasy novels. The God of Light is not dead, but he and the God of Darkness were seriously injured after a war in ancient times and fell into deep sleep. After Su Qingni came to this world, she cast a spell to make the soul of the God of Light sleep more deeply, so that his soul could not detect the existence of her as an outsider and could not interfere with her actions. It is worthy of being a god's body. It can accommodate half of Su Qingni's soul and can exert more power. Su Qingni is very satisfied with this state. Standing up, looking at her white robe with golden patterns, and then seeing the white or golden temple of light and the god's domain, Su Qingni's mouth twitched slightly. As written in those Western fantasy novels, the God of Light loves light and white, and hates darkness and dark colors. As a great god who is more powerful than the God of Light, Su Qingni knows that this is wrong. Light cannot be separated from darkness, just as darkness cannot be separated from light. The world needs both light and darkness, and both are indispensable. Without one of them, the world will collapse. Just as yin to the extreme produces yang, and yang to the extreme produces yin, light and darkness will also change when they reach the extreme. If the God of Light can understand this truth, then he will not be limited to his current strength. His strength will increase. Maybe he will break away from the shackles of this world, create his own world, and become the creator God of that world. Well, the God of Light does not understand this truth. I can teach him this truth, and when she leaves, she can leave this truth for the awakened God of Light to study by himself. At present, she is leaving the Oracle of Light and heading to the place where humans live in the lower world. She also has to find the extremely yin place in this world. The most important thing is that she is the only one in the realm of light, and there is no one to talk to. It is too lonely. You should know that in her temple in the Lich world, there are several juniors who help her take care of the temple and occasionally chat with her. Su Qingni turned into a beam of light, fell from the sky, and landed on the ground. The moment she landed, her appearance and clothes changed together. The white robe embroidered with the golden patterns turned into a black magic robe, the golden long hair like sunshine turned into brown short hair, and the golden eyes turned into blue. The original appearance was also restrained to 6 points, but it still looked extremely handsome. Su Qingni turned her head and looked at the surrounding environment. Is this in the forest? Fortunately, she restrained the breath of the God of Light before landing, and the animals and plants in the forest were not scared by her breath. Su Qingni randomly found a direction and walked over. During the period, she encountered several monsters. These monsters could not feel Su Qingni's power, and rushed towards Su Qingni, but were pinned down by Su Qingni with one hand. Su Qingni did not kill these monsters, and continued to walk leisurely. While walking, he used the power of his own soul to communicate with the way of heaven in this world and understand the information of this world. Originally, the God of Light should be omniscient, but who asked this one to sleep for so long that the world has undergone earth-shaking changes, so long that his own Church of Light was overthrown, and he didn't know. No wonder the God of Light's injuries have not healed for so long, no wonder he sleeps more and more deeply. Without the Church of Light, without the believers of light to provide him with the power of faith, without the power of faith to help him repair his injuries, he can only rely on his own divine power to repair his injuries, and has to fall into deeper sleep. Su Qingni has always felt that the power of faith is an unreliable power. The power of faith is a double-edged sword. It can help the gods increase their strength, but when carrying the gods of faith, this power of faith will be the most harmful weapon to the gods. Gods who rely on the power of faith will not last long. If the power of faith is gone one day, these gods may dissipate. Su Qingni circulated a kind of exercise she created based on the body of the God of Light in her body, so that the body of the God of Light can improve its strength and repair its injuries without the power of faith. Su Qingni thought that when the God of Light wakes up, he will definitely be grateful to her. This is indeed the case. After the God of Light woke up, he was very grateful to a powerful God who had used his body. He did not blame the other party for using his body without asking for his opinion. The benefits this person left him were really great. He practiced according to the theories and cultivation methods left by this person, and finally got rid of the shackles of this world and became a more powerful god. This is all in the future, let's talk about the present. Su Qingni learned that the reason why the Church of Light was overthrown was because an outsider came to this world 2,000 years ago. This outsider is like the protagonist of some Western fantasy novels, who uses cheats to improve his strength, practices magic and martial arts, and has opportunities come to him. All beautiful girls are fascinated by him, and the young generation of his generation either worship him and become his subordinates, or become his stepping stones and are defeated by him. As the big villain, the Church of Light was naturally overthrown by this person. This person does not believe in gods, he only believes in himself, and only believes that he is the god. Chapter 690 I am the God of Light too. This outsider named Daleth brought a group of younger brothers to overthrow the Church of Light, overthrow the dark church that still existed in secret, and denied the gods believed in by other races. Because when the Church of Light was overthrown, the God of Light was still asleep and did not send down oracles, Daleth judged that the God of Light had disappeared. In that war of gods, the God of Light and the God of Darkness perished together, and other gods also disappeared in the war of gods. There are no gods in this world anymore, so he will be the new god of this world. Daleth is worthy of being the son of luck in this world for a period of time. After pushing himself to the altar, He actually used the power of faith of the people in this world to ignite the divine fire, form a godhood, and truly become a god. After that, he helped her confidants and younger brothers to form a godhood and become gods. Although their godhoods are very small and only belong to the lowest level of gods, they are also gods, and there is a huge difference between them and humans. In addition to the difference in strength, the most important thing is that gods have a long life. 2,000 years have passed, and Dalit, his confidant, and his younger brothers are still alive and well. Dalit found the divine domain left by the fallen goddess of life, as well as the divine domains left by several fallen gods, and merged these divine domains together to form a new divine domain, and moved into the divine domain with his confidant and younger brothers. However, living in one place for a long time would make people bored, so every once in a while, Dalit would bring his confidant and younger brothers to the human world, pretending to be ordinary people and having fun in the human world. If someone is lucky enough to be favored by Dalit, he might be brought into the divine domain by Dalit and become a divine messenger. That would be a matter of honor for the family. I don't know what happened in these years. Maybe the gods in the divine domain felt bored and fell into deep sleep. No gods have descended on the earth for 200 or 300 years. However, the incense in Dalit's temple was not affected. After all, there has been no movement for only 2 or 3 years. Many people who practice cultivation can live for a long time. 200 or 300 years is only a fraction of their lifespan for people with high cultivation. Su Qingni's consciousness passed through the sea of clouds and reached Dalu's divine domain. Dalu's divine domain is naturally protected by his divine power. Without his permission, other people or gods can't pass through his divine power protection and enter the divine domain. Even if the native god of light can pass through his divine power protection and enter the divine domain, he will definitely be discovered by Dalu at the first time. Su Qingni's strength is much stronger than Dalu, and her control skills of power are not comparable to Dalu. She entered Dalu's divine domain quietly without alarming the owner of the divine domain, let alone anyone in the divine domain. After wandering around in the divine domain, Su Qingni finally knew why Dalu and his group had not appeared in the past 200 or 300 years. It turned out that they had changed a new way of playing. In recent years, they have left their bodies in the divine domain, and their souls have been reincarnated as humans and went to the human world to have fun. They have taken good care of their souls. As long as they lose them in the human world, their souls will return to their bodies and will not put themselves in danger of falling. It is said that these gods also made a bet to see who had a more exciting growth experience in the human world and who would achieve greater success in the end. Everyone took out a prize. As for who heard it from? There are still some gods in the divine realm. From their chat, Su Qingni learned about the bet. Retracting his divine sense, Su Qingni laughed. This world is quite interesting. Su Qingni pretended to be a single mercenary, occasionally acting with other mercenaries, and occasionally taking a task alone to earn some money to cope with food, clothing, housing and transportation in this world. As a god, he doesn't need to eat, but the food in this world has become very delicious after being improved by dilute, which attracted Su Qingni to invest all the money earned from doing tasks in eating. 3 meals a day plus a midnight snack, Su Qingni never missed it. Because of the body of a god and a powerful soul, the extremely yin place in this world was soon found. After burying the netherworld stone, Su Qingni began to wander around. On this day, Su Qingni collected a kind of fruit near the inner periphery of the Warcraft forest. This kind of fruit is very delicious and has a certain beauty effect, which is very popular among noble ladies. However, because it grows at the junction of the outer and inner areas of the Warcraft forest, there are powerful Warcraft nearby, so it is difficult to get. Generally, people with strong strength don't care about the money from selling fruits, and are even more unwilling to waste time collecting these fruits, while those who care about this little money are not strong enough to beat the Warcraft around the fruits, resulting in a scarcity of fruits on the market. Su Qingni had almost eaten up all the silver in her hand. In order to make more money and enjoy more delicious food, Su Qingni chose this high-paying task. After easily dealing with the Warcraft near the fruit, Su Qingni happily picked all the fruit she saw. Just as she was about to leave the Warcraft forest to hands in the task, the sound of fighting suddenly rang out in the jungle not far away. This kind of sound is very common in the Warcraft forest. There are many people who come to the Warcraft forest to train, and there are even more mercenaries who come here to make money. At the outermost edge of the forest, you can encounter several battles every day. Su Qingni wanted to walk past a battle, But when she saw several people in the battle, she stopped and stood in the shade of the jungle to watch the battle. This was a group of young people, but judging from their attire, it was a noble who brought his men to World of Warcraft for training. The best-dressed young girl stood at the outermost edge of the battle, casting magic towards the center of the battle. It can be seen that this girl has a very good talent. She is already a high-level magician at a young age, but she is a rare genius. Her family attaches great importance to her. The wizard robes and jewelry she wears are all fine products with powerful protective effects. And there is a middle-aged man standing next to her, who is a magician. In this world, after Dalut and others became gods, the world's resources seemed to be almost exhausted, and it was no longer possible to support a person to cultivate to the god level. Even the number of saint-level masters was much less than before. Nowadays, in this world, the great magician and the sky swordsman are already very remarkable. And the family sent a magician to protect this girl, which shows the importance this family attaches to the girl. Su Qingni's gaze swept across the girl and then turned to another girl who was fighting. Chapter 691 I am the third god of light. That girl is also a magician, but she is in the battle circle, facing the attack of the monster. This girl's strength is not as strong as the noble girl, but only at the level of a low-level magician. But this girl's attack is sharp, and she has rich combat experience. You can tell at a glance that she has participated in many life and death battles. Su Qingni carefully looked at the girl inside and out, left a trace of spiritual mark on her, and floated away. With the force of these people, they can barely break into the inner circle of the monster forest. This monster will be dealt with by them soon. Su Qingni left the forest, handed in the task, and received a lot of commission. The task only required 10 beauty fruits, but Su Qingni picked dozens of them this time. After teaching the 10 fruits for the task, she sold the rest to merchants doing business outside the forest. These merchants are ordinary people with low combat power. They cannot enter the Warcraft forest to obtain things, so they buy things from mercenaries outside the forest. They buy everything, including Warcraft meat, Warcraft skin, magic ore, herbs, crystals. They transport these things to big cities far away from the Warcraft forest for sale, and then buy daily necessities in big cities and transport them back to the Warcraft forest to sell to mercenaries. These merchants are afraid of the combat power of mercenaries. Whether they are buying or selling things, the price is very fair and they will not take advantage of the mercenaries. The dozens of beauty fruits that Su Qingni took out made the merchants very happy. Although he would pay a huge amount of money to buy these beauty fruits, as long as he brought these beauty fruits back to the big city, he would get twice or even 3 or 4 times the return. Those noble ladies are the least concerned about money for beauty and youth. After getting a large sum of money, the first thing Su Qingni did was to go to the only restaurant in the town and order their signature dishes. This restaurant was run by Dilut's original family. It is a chain restaurant with branches in big cities all over the world. This branch outside the Warcraft forest is one of the 10 largest branches, and the chefs there have the best skills. Because the ingredients are the freshest, the food made by this restaurant is also the best, and the taste of the food made by branches in other cities is a few points stronger. Of course, the price of this restaurant is also a few points higher than that of other branches. The chef is very fast, and it didn't take long before a table of delicious food was served. Su Qingni tasted the delicious food slowly and thought of the 2 girls she met today. The Warcraft forest is very large, and it takes at least a month for others to return to the outer forest from the junction of the outer and inner peripheries. But who is Su Qingni? In the blink of an eye, she can go back and forth. It's so interesting. These 2 people have the same attributes, and both have a trace of divine power in their souls. Are these 2 people going to compete for the same god position? I wonder who will win or lose? Su Qingni stayed in the town for 3 days and went to the restaurant every day to eat delicious food. No matter how much money she had, it was almost spent. Who said that the restaurant was so expensive? Su Qingni received another task with a high reward and entered the Warcraft forest. She walked slowly, as if she was taking a walk in the forest. The monsters in the forest have much sharper senses than humans. Su Qingni released a little breath, and these monsters were scared and avoided Su Qingni. Su Qingni walked in a straight line to her destination. She seemed to be walking slowly, but the surrounding scenery was quickly retreating behind her like a rewind. After a while, Su Qingni had arrived at the junction of the inner circle and the outer circle. Su Qingni took a light step forward and entered the inner circle of the forest. After finding the target and completing the task, Su Qingni would definitely stroll around the inner circle again, so as not to go out so quickly and be discovered by the person who issued the task that she was not right, and the time she used to complete the task was too short. Her storage utensils were filled with many signature dishes of the restaurant, so she would not lack food even if she wandered around the inner circle for a month. In this way, Su Qingni wandered around the inner circle for half a month, during which time she met the team that the two girls were in. They also entered the inner circle. With their strength, they can barely make it to the edge of the inner circle, but going deeper would be dangerous. The monsters in the inner circle of the monster forest are very powerful. Even if this group of people are protected by magicians, they will definitely not be able to escape if they encounter monsters living in groups. When Su Qingni saw them, several people in this group were already injured, and 2 people were no longer in their team. It is not known whether they died or were too seriously injured and left the team and left the forest. Su Qingni thought it should be the first one. After all, these people are all around the noble girl to protect her. The noble girl has not left yet, and it is impossible for others to leave. Another girl was also injured, but it didn't look serious. This girl is a taciturn person, and it seems that she doesn't have a good relationship with other people in the team. In addition to her and the noble girl, there is another girl in the team. Whenever the girl has free time, she will stick to noble girl and flatter her, and she looks down on the other girl. After wandering around for more than 10 days, Su Qingni felt that the spiritual mark she put on the girl was touched. This should be because the girl was in a life or death crisis, her life was hanging by a thread, and the mark was triggered. She immediately went to the girl's location. The next moment, Su Qingni planned to appear near the girl, just in time to see the noble girl pulling the girl in front of her to block the monster's claw. This monster is a level 7 monster, even the magician is no match for it. If it is attacked by the monster's claw head-on, the hope of surviving is slim. After the noble girl pulled the girl to help her block the fatal attack, she pushed the girl towards the monster. While the girl's body blocked the monster, the magician grabbed the noble girl's arm and ran away quickly. The monster pushed the girl aside with one claw and chased the noble girl and the magician. Soon, the 3 figures disappeared in the bushes. Su Qingni walked out from behind the tree and came to the girl's side. The girl was like a rag doll, with no intact part on her body. Her stomach was cut open and her intestines were all out. Her limbs were broken and every bone in her body was shattered. If it was someone else, they would have died long ago. Fortunately, Su Qingni left her mark on the girl, which protected her heart and saved her last breath, so that she did not die. How miserable! Su Qingni sighed, stretched out her right hand, and the light element gathered in her right hand, and then enveloped the girl. Chapter 692 I am the 4th god of light. The element of light has a powerful healing ability. The girl was covered by the golden light, and her wounds healed quickly. Her limbs and bones were reconnected, and her pale face showed blood color. Su Qingni retracted her hand. The golden light disappeared, and the girl opened her eyes. Seeing the man in front of her, the girl realized that she was saved. Thank you for saving me. The girl quickly stood up and bowed to Su Qingni to thank her. Su Qingni accepted the girl's gift and asked the girl, "What's your name?" "My name is Selena." The girl answered quickly. She looked at Su Qingni and felt that the man in front of her gave her a familiar feeling, but she was sure that she had never seen this person before. So, what's going on? Selena couldn't figure it out, but she intuitively felt that she could trust the man in front of her. Sir, can you save my companion?" Selena pleaded. "Your companion?" Su Qingni raised her eyebrows. "The woman who pulled you over to block the attack of the monster and her magician guard." "Not them." Selena denied. Her expression was ugly. Although Alyssa is the princess of the family, the status of these side branches is lower than that of Alyssa, and they have the obligation to protect Alyssa. But it does not mean that she is willing to be pushed out by the person she protects to take the bullet. This feeling of being betrayed by the person she protects is really too bad. Alyssa does not take their lives seriously. Why should they protect Alyssa? They are just side branches of the family, not slaves under Alyssa. These are my other companions. They were all knocked down by the monsters, and I don't know if they are still alive. If they are still alive, please help them." Selena bowed to Su Qingni again. Su Qingni folded her hands on her chest and said lightly, "I have no relatives or friends with them. Why should I save them?" Selena wanted to say that you saved me, so it's okay to save a few more people, right? But when Su Qingni's sight came to her, Selena suddenly had an idea, and knelt on one knee in front of Su Qingni. Selena is willing to follow you, everything is subject to your will, loyal to you, and never betray you. Selena made a heavenly contract in front of Su Qingni. Su Qingni nodded with satisfaction and said to Selena, "Get up." Selena quickly stood up and stood behind Su Qingni. Su Qingni walked towards the direction where the blood was flowing and said, "If your companions are still alive, I can save them. But if they are already dead, then there is nothing I can do." Selena hurriedly said, "I understand, and I will never embarrass you." While the two were talking, they had already seen Selena's first companion, who was another woman besides Selena and the noble girl. But this woman was already dead and could not be saved. The next one was a young swordsman. Selena rushed over when she saw the swordsman, picked up the man and called him brother. It turned out that this man was Selena's cousin. Fortunately, this man was still alive, and Su Qingni used the light magic to save this man. The young man named Chris opened his eyes and saw Selena, thinking that he had reached the underworld and reunited with his cousin. Su Qingni left Selena to explain to her cousin, walked forward, and saved another young man. The other young people died completely. Selena, Chris and another young man who survived, Gareth, were all very sad. Although the relationship between everyone in the group was not harmonious, they were all branches of the Alyssa family, and they had more or less blood ties with each other. Moreover, after getting along for so long, they couldn't bear to see their acquaintances die so miserably in front of them. They all felt sad. If they hadn't been a little bit luckier than these people and met this adult who was very good at using light magic and pulled them back from the line of life and death, they would have died like these people. They were still young and didn't want to die. They accompanied Miss Alyssa to travel in the Warcraft forest. Although they were responsible for protecting Alyssa, they were not obliged to sacrifice their lives for this lady. Besides, they didn't have to die originally. In the original plan, they were only active in the inner and outer areas of the Warcraft forest. Although there were dangers here, they could still deal with it with their strength. As a result, Miss Alyssa insisted on going deeper into the inner circle of the monster forest, and provoked a 7th-level monster that none of them could afford to fend. As a result, Miss Alyssa asked her followers to take the bullets, and she escaped under the protection of the magician. They didn't want to die, and they wanted to escape, but the magician didn't allow them to escape at all, and threw them to the monster. Although the death of their companions was caused by the monster, a large part of the reason was because of the magician. If the magician didn't stop them, they would have fled in different places, and more people would have survived. You must know that the monster's target was Miss Alyssa, who provoked it, and the magician who posed the greatest threat to it. After burying their dead companions, Selena and Chris told their cousin that she had become Su Qingni's follower and wanted to leave with Su Qingni. Chris agreed with Selena's choice. Just based on Su Qingni's ability to save them, it can be seen that this person is an extraordinary person. It is definitely better for the cousin to follow him than to follow Alyssa. Moreover, Selena's parents died a few years ago. Selena has no brothers and sisters, and no home to belong to. She can follow Su Qingni without worry. But Chris and Gareth can't. They still have parents, brothers and sisters, and a home. They can't just leave. But they can't return to the family openly. Alyssa and the magician certainly don't want others to know what happened in the Warcraft forest. They definitely don't want Alyssa's kind and beautiful personality to collapse. The two of them who know the inside story will definitely be killed by the family when they return to the family. Let the bigwigs in the family think that they died in the Warcraft forest. They will secretly return to their homes and report their safety to their parents. As for whether their parents will leave the family with them or they will leave by themselves, it depends on the choice of their parents. For the two of them, their parents should not leave the family. The family will take care of the families of those who died for the family and give them more resources for their families to practice. Chris and Gareth still have brothers and sisters. Will their parents stay in the family for their brothers and sisters and for those resources? Although this choice will make them unhappy, they can understand their parents. Chapter 693 I am the fifth god of light. Chris and the other asked Su Qingni if they could come to Su Qingni after seeing their parents and become Su Qingni's followers. Su Qingni's eyes scanned the two young people like an X-ray and nodded. Although these two people did not have the good qualifications of Selena, they looked good, especially Chris, who was a very careful young man. Su Qingni felt that she could train this young man to be her butler. Su Qingni divided the remaining money she had between Chris and Gareth. Well, she felt that the amount of money was very small, but for Chris and the other two, it was already a lot. This amount was enough for their families to live for 5 years. This was the settlement fee given by the adults. The adults were really considerate and really sympathetic to their subordinates. Compared with Alyssa and the bigwigs in the family, the adults were really good people to follow. Chris and Gareth went home after following Su Qingni out of the Warcraft forest. Su Qingni threw the task supplies to Selena and asked Selena to hand in the task, while she went to the restaurant to eat delicious food again. Selena handed in the task, sold the extra task items to the merchant, and came to the restaurant. Su Qingni usually eats in the lobby of the restaurant, and can listen to the conversations and gossips of other guests while eating. This time, because she had something to say to Selena, she asked for a private room. As expected of a chain restaurant, the layout of the private room is very good, and there is soundproof magic inside, so people outside the private room cannot hear the sound inside. Selena presented the storage bag containing gold coins to Su Qingni. David is good at space, and has developed a set of methods for making storage equipment, which he taught to the family of a confidant. That family made a fortune by selling storage equipment, and storage equipment is very common in this world nowadays. Su Qingni took out some gold coins from the storage bag and gave them to Selena. Selena also has a storage bag, but the space is very small. It contains her change of clothes and personal belongings, and the remaining space is even smaller. Selena accepted the gold coins given to her by Su Qingni with great gratitude. This was the first time she had so many gold coins. Even after following Alyssa for 2 years, she had never obtained so many gold coins. Su Qingni said to Selena, "Stretch out your right hand." Selena stretched out her right hand in confusion, and Su Qingni stretched out her fingers and pressed on the acupuncture points on Selena's wrist. She injected a trace of light power into Selena's body. The hidden power in Selena's body felt the entry of the light power and came out of its hiding place very excitedly. Follow the light power to flow in Selena's body. Selena blushed because Su Qingni pulled her wrist and misunderstood Su Qingni. Well, Su Qingni is now a man and looks so handsome. Selena's heart was beating like a deer because of Su Qingni's action. Then, Selena felt a very comfortable airflow rising from her body and flowing in her body. This airflow made Selena feel familiar, as if it was something that originally belonged to her. This airflow was very powerful, and it circulated around her body, and her strength actually increased. From a junior magician to a senior magician. This is like a miracle. Selena looked at Su Qingni with admiration, feeling ashamed for the previous misunderstanding. It turned out that the adults were helping her improve her strength. She actually thought of the adults with such a dirty mind, which was too wrong. Su Qingni withdrew her hand and said to Selena, "You should practice quickly to stabilize your level." Selena knelt on one knee, bowed to Su Qingni to thank her, then sat on the ground and began to meditate carefully to stabilize her improved level. Su Qingni ate the food on the table slowly. She still had a conscience and did not finish all the food. She left a plate of meat dishes, a plate of vegetarian dishes and 2 steamed buns for Selena. Don't ask why there are steamed buns in the Western fantasy world. Don't forget that there is a long ocean traverser in this world. The sun in the sky is going home to rest, casting the last ray of light, shining into the private room through the window. The sun was falling on Selena's body. Suddenly, a strong aura rose from her body, and then it immediately subsided. She slowly opened her eyes. "Thank you, sir." Selena stood up and thanked Su Qingni again. Su Qingni accepted the thanks, pointed to the steamed buns and dishes on the table, and said to Selena, "Eat." Selena was already very hungry. Improving strength consumes a lot of energy. Her stomach had long been empty. Selena quickly sat down opposite Su Qingni and ate the food Su Qingni left for her. After eating the food, Selena burped with satisfaction and wiped her lips. Only then did she have time to ask her own questions. "My lord, I felt a strong airflow rising from my body before. This airflow made me feel familiar and helped me upgrade. But now I can't feel it anymore. What's going on? What exactly is that airflow?" "That airflow belongs to you. I just awakened it to help you upgrade. But with your current body and strength, you can't control it, so it's dormant again and hidden in your body. As for what it is, your current strength is too low and you are not qualified to know," Su Qingni said. Selena: "Okay, since my strength is low and I don't deserve to know, then I don't know. Anyway, my lord won't hurt her. My lord should be very powerful, right? Is he more powerful than the elders of the Dalton family? Is my lord a great magician? He can't be a magic saint, right? That's amazing. Thinking that she might follow a legendary magic saint, Selena felt a little ecstatic. Su Qingni asked Selena, "Do you have a pen and paper with you?" Selena shook her head. How could she carry such things with her at all times? Su Qingni stood up and said, "Let's go buy some paper and pen first and then go to the inn to rest." Selena didn't know what Su Qingni needed the paper and pen for, but she didn't ask and followed Su Qingni out of the restaurant obediently. After going to the bookstore to buy paper and pen, the two went to the inn and called 2 rooms. This inn is also a chain operation, and the accommodation conditions are very good. However, not many people come to stay. After all, the price is too expensive, and adventurers and mercenaries are reluctant to spend so much money just to stay for one night. The mercenaries and adventurer chose another mercenary union to open this inn, and the price there is 10 times cheaper than that of this inn. However, the high price has its good side. The room layout of this inn is almost comparable to that of a 5-star hotel in modern society. The bathroom and toilet inside are no different from modern ones, except that the driving energy is magic. Chapter 694 I am the 6th god of light. Selena had never stayed in this inn. Alyssa and the magician lived in this inn. They gave money to her, Chris and others, and sent them to live in the mercenary hostel. Selena never thought that one day she would be able to live in such a luxurious and comfortable inn. Oh my, the adults really don't take money seriously. I should persuade the adults in the future. In the future, the adults can stay in the inn alone, and she will still live in the mercenary hostel. Forget it this time. The adults gave all the accommodation fees to the innkeeper, otherwise they would not come back. It would be a waste if they didn't stay. The inn includes a breakfast with rich varieties, and Selena ate it with satisfaction. After breakfast, Su Qingni called Selena to her room and threw a stack of papers full of words to Selena. Your aptitude is not worse than that of Alyssa. The reason why your strength is low is that you don't have a good method to practice. This method is the most suitable for you to practice. Take it and practice it. This method was searched out by Su Qingni from the vast sea of memory of the God of Light. The God of Light is the boss of all gods except the gods of light. The God of Light knows the methods of practice of other gods. After knowing Selena's origin, Su Qingni found the most suitable one for Selena from these methods of practice. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Selena thanked him repeatedly, and her nose was sore with emotion. She felt that her decision to follow Su Qingni was the best choice she had made in her life. Okay, go back to your room and practice. Su Qingni waved her hand and sent Selena away. Selena quickly told her that she wanted to stay in the mercenary hotel. Su Qingni understood that Selena was trying to save money for her, so she snorted and said, "Don't worry, the last thing I lack is money. You are my follower, and I will not let my people live in poverty. Just stay in the inn. Besides, the conditions in the mercenary hostel are not suitable for cultivation. The inn didn't ask for so much money for nothing. There are protective magic and soundproof magic outside each room, so that guests can not only rest well in the room, but also practice with peace of mind. Although the mercenary hostel charges cheaply, it is noisy and people often fight, which is really not suitable for cultivation." In the end, Selena stayed in the inn. She practiced hard every day. She found that this method was really suitable for her. After changing to this method, Selena's improvement speed was 1,000 miles a day, which was more than 10 times the previous practice speed. After practicing for a few days, Selena followed Su Qingni into the Warcraft Forest to do tasks. They entered the inner circle of the Warcraft Forest and encountered powerful Warcraft. Su Qingni pushed Selena out to let her fight the Warcraft. Su Qingni watched the battle from the side. Whenever Selena was in danger of life, Su Qingni would save her. Selena had no worries and fought the monsters more bravely. In the battle, her strength and combat experience improved rapidly. When Chris and Gareth came back to find them, Selena had already become a magician. Chris and Gareth were envious of Selena's rapid growth in strength, but they had no bad thoughts and were mostly for Selena's happiness. Their character satisfied Su Qingni, so she searched for 2 exercises suitable for their practice from the memory sea of the God of Light. Of course, they were not the cultivation exercises of the gods, but they were also very powerful. What can be remembered by the gods, what can be bad? Taught them to the 2. The 2 were so happy that they practiced without sleep and forgetting to eat. And their strength also improved accordingly as they changed their cultivation methods, although not as fast as Selena's. Su Qingni led the 3 people in and out of the Warcraft Forest several times, completed several high-paying tasks, sold the precious harvest for money, and then left the Warcraft forest with the three people. Since meeting Selena and Alyssa, Su Qingni decided to go somewhere else to see if there were people in the same situation as them. Selena and Alyssa were together, which might be the arrangement of the heaven in this world. It might be that the heaven also arranged for other people to be together. Su Qingni understood the intention of the heaven. It was to let the two parties fight, and the day they won, they would be able to become the new gods of this world. Who is Alyssa? She should be the reincarnation of one of Dalet's confidants. It is said that the Dalton family once had a daughter who ignited the divine fire with the help of the god King Dalet, took control of the power of the earth, and became the goddess of the earth. The goddess of the earth played the reincarnation game with Dalet and other gods, and naturally chose her original family to reincarnate. As for Selena, she is the reincarnation of the real goddess of the earth. Alyssa and Selena both have the power of the earth in their bodies, but because it is scattered in the bodies of two people, they cannot control it. If one of them can fully control the power of the earth, he will become the goddess of the earth, and the other will completely lose the qualification to become a god. Su Qingni, in view of the god of light, naturally wants to help Selena, the original subordinate of the god of light. This is why she saved Selena and trained Selena. She thinks that it is better for gods to be native. Those confidants who stole the power of gods are simply a joke. With their weak godhood, how can they bear the responsibility of gods? For more than 2,000 years, they followed Dalet to fool around in the gods' domain, but they have never fulfilled any of the duties of gods. The group chose a direction at random and walked. Su Qingni thinks that helping native gods is fate. If you meet them, you will help them. If you don't meet them, it means that they are unlucky and may not have the luck to become gods again. Perhaps the way of heaven is on the side of the original gods. After walking for only half a month, Su Qingni and her group came to a small city and met another pair of god competitors. Among the competitors, the god on the side of Dalet was reincarnated as Brad, a poor boy from an ordinary family. However, he was lucky and not only obtained the skills suitable for his own practice, but also won the favor of a lady from a big family. He can be said to be a winner in life. The reincarnation of the original god is not the fiancé of the lady of the big family, and there will be a drama of being broken off. The original god was reincarnated as Leander, the younger brother of this lady, but Leander did not have a good relationship with his sister. Leander was spoiled by his parents since he was a child, which made his sister jealous, and the child was spoiled, which made his sister look down on him even more. The parents of the eldest lady opposed the eldest lady marrying the poor boy and prevented them from interacting. The eldest lady vented her anger on her brother who was most favored by her parents. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 695 I am the seventh god of light. The eldest lady eloped with her lover. Before the elopement, their actions were discovered by Leander. Leander ran to stop the two. Under the instigation of the eldest lady, Brad hit Leander hard. Brad originally hated Leander because his lover disliked Leander and this person who was said to often bully his lover. In addition, Leander ran out to stop him and his lover from eloping. Brad hated Leander even more, and fortunately killed Leander. Leander was spoiled by his family and grew up a little bit spoiled. He didn't practice hard. His strength was far behind Brad. How could he be Brad's opponent? If he hadn't carried the protective magic tools given to him by his family, I'm afraid he would have been beaten to death by Brad at that time. But even if he didn't die, Leander was seriously injured. Leander's parents and elders invited many pharmacists and magicians who practice light magic, but they couldn't cure Leander completely. They could only save Leander's life. However, Leander's body was ruined. Not only could he no longer practice, but his health would also be very poor. His limbs were weak, and he would be out of breath after walking 2 steps. His lifespan was affected, and he could only live for another 20 years at most. Leander's parents and elders hated their daughter and Brad, and issued a hunting order for them. However, because they had been focusing on curing Leander before, they had no energy to hunt down the two. Now that a long time has passed, their hunting order has not had much effect. The two people have already run away to an unknown place. Su Qingni discovered divine power in Leander's body, confirmed Leander's identity, and found Leander's family, saying that she could cure Leander. Leander's parents were heartbroken for their son's health and almost desperate. At this moment, they received news that they could cure their son. Whether it was true or false, they would not let it go. They immediately went out to take Su Qingni and her 4 companions into the mansion. Su Qingni acted like a master, cold and noble, and didn't talk much. All communication with Leander's parents was left to Gareth. Chris was a careful person, and Su Qingni trained him to be a steward to manage the affairs of the 4 people. Gareth was smooth and sociable, so all external affairs were handed over to Gareth. Gareth shaped Su Qingni into a hermit who liked to travel around the world, and the statement inevitably overlapped with Dalet's previous behavior. Leander's parents regarded Su Qingni as a god like Dalet and others. In fact, they were not wrong, and treated Su Qingni very humbly. Su Qingni glanced at Gareth, saw Gareth's flattering smile, smiled secretly in her heart, and said to Leander's parents, "Take me to see your son. Leander has changed since he was judged to be a useless person." Without the previous vitality, the whole person was lifeless, locked himself in the room, and was unwilling to go out again. He was afraid to go out and face other people's pity or gloating eyes. If Su Qingni didn't come again, this kid would really be useless. It's not his body that is useless, but his spirit that is useless. All his luck will be lost and flow to Brad. At that time, Leander will fail completely, and his authority will be completely returned to Brad. Su Qingni came to Leander's door, which was tightly closed. No matter how his parents called him, he didn't move. Su Qingni looked at Selena, who walked forward and cast a magic on the door to break it open. Su Qingni walked into the room under the admiring eyes of Leander's parents and saw Leander lying on the bed pretending to be dead. Su Qingni didn't waste any words and cast a light magic directly. The golden light enveloped Leander, and Leander, who was like a salted fish, moved. She didn't care about Su Qingni and others. During this period, his parents hired many pharmacists and magicians to treat his body, but it was useless and only made him more disappointed. This time, he thought that the people who came were the same as those before, and they were also incapable of treating him. He was desperate. It would not be like the beginning. No one would come to treat him. He hoped with hope that those people could cure him. However, when the golden light enveloped him, he felt different from the countless treatments in the past. The golden light entered his body, and he felt that his disabled body seemed to be getting better. Just like the dry wasteland gradually regained its vitality, his body also regained its vitality and began to get better, and his disabled magic also returned. Leander opened his eyes suddenly and looked at the person standing beside the bed. Immediately, he felt a sense of closeness from the bottom of his heart, as if he knew this person. But how could it be? He had never seen this person before. "Who are you?" Leander asked. "My name is Balder." Su Qingni replied with a smile. Balder's the name of the god of light, which means the embodiment of glory and beauty. However, many people in this world have forgotten this name, and have forgotten that it is the name of the god of light. Leander didn't know that this was the real name of the god of light, but he felt that this name was very suitable for Su Qingni. "What a good name," he praised, "it suits you very well. Thank you for the compliment." After Su Qingni finished speaking, the golden light on Leander's body disappeared and all merged into Leander's body. Leander felt that his body had completely recovered, and was about to stand up to thank Su Qingni. Suddenly, he felt a familiar breath rising from his body and flowing through his body. The breath gave him great power, and he felt that his strength was rapidly improving. Su Qingni said, "Don't rush to get up, quickly follow the breath in your body to meditate and practice. Don't waste this opportunity." Leander looked at Su Qingni gratefully, and immediately changed from lying to sitting, meditating and practicing at ease. Although Su Qingni could not see Leander's luck, she thought that Leander's lost luck had begun to return at this moment, and it also brought back Brad's luck. Leander's luck will become stronger and stronger from now on. Leander's parents saw their son start to practice, knowing that their son's body was healed, and they were very grateful to Su Qingni, and asked people to present a generous thank you gift. Su Qingni accepted it without refusing, and warned Leander's parents not to disturb Leander. The two of them agreed repeatedly. They just thought their son wanted to use cultivation to prove that his body was fully recovered and he was no longer a useless person, but they didn't know that after his cultivation, his son would bring them a huge surprise. Chapter 696 I am the eighth god of light. Although Leander had a relatively good cultivation method provided by his family, he did not work hard himself. Before he was injured, he was just a junior magician like Selena. This time of training raised his magician level by 2 levels at once, making him a senior magician. When Leander finished his training and emerged from his room, his parents were shocked. "Leander, your cultivation." Leander smiled happily at his parents. "Father, mother, I am now a senior magician." Leander's parents must have known that Leander was already a senior magician. One of them was a magician and the other was a great magician. They could see the strength level of people with lower cultivation than them. And it was because they saw clearly the strength level of their son that they were so shocked. That Lord Balder must be a god, no doubt about it. Only gods can restore their son's body and improve his strength. Leander's parents had originally prepared generous gifts as a thank you gift. Now after seeing their son's situation, they decided to increase the generosity of the thank you gift by 2 levels. Leander ran to see Su Qingni and thanked her in person. His parents arranged the best courtyard for Su Qingni to live in, which was not far from where Leander lived. "Thank you, sir." Leander bowed to Su Qingni gratefully. When he looked up, he saw Selena standing behind Su Qingni. The familiar feeling appeared again. Leander felt that he should know this woman, but the problem was that he didn't even know her name. Leander frowned and looked at Selena and asked, "Who are you?" Selena had the same feeling and told the young man her name. "My name is Selena, and I am a follower of the Sir. A follower of the Sir Balder." Leander's heart moved, and he suddenly knelt down in front of Su Qingni. "Please allow me to be loyal and follow you." Su Qingni smiled. Sure enough, there was a mutual attraction between the original gods. Even without memories, these gods still chose to be loyal to the objects of their former loyalty. Su Qingni nodded, "I accept your loyalty and following." After Leander's parents knew that their son had become someone else's follower, they were not angry, but very happy, thinking that their son had made the right move. They had already confirmed Su Qingni's identity. Their son had become a follower of the gods, and at the very least he would be a messenger of the gods in the future, which was much more promising than being the patriarch of a small family in the human world. They would rather have no heir to inherit the family in the future than let their son miss this opportunity. Su Qingni sighed to Leander, "You are very lucky to have parents who love you so much and care about you wholeheartedly." Leander nodded vigorously. Su Qingni took out a small medicine bottle and threw it to Leander. "Since they are the biological parents of my followers, I can't treat them badly and let them have no heirs in the future. You give this pill to your mother." Leander took the medicine bottle and asked curiously, "Lord Balder, what is the effect of this pill?" Su Qingni, "It's a fertility pill. After your mother takes this pill and makes love with your father, she will be 100% pregnant." Leander's eyes widened. Is there such a magical potion in the world? Then he was overjoyed and hurried to find his father and mother with the pill. Leander's parents were also very happy to get the pill. That night, Leander's mother took the pill. Although Leander's mother is nearly 100 years old, the lifespan of people in this world is generally not short. Ordinary people have a lifespan of 150 years. After practicing, their lifespan will increase with the growth of their strength. Leander's mother is a great magician with a lifespan of 1,000 years. A mere 100 years of age is only 1/10 of 1,000 years of life. By this calculation, she is still very young. The body is young and suitable for pregnancy. The pill did not disappoint the family of 3. Half a month after Leander's mother took the pill, they felt the fluctuation of life in Leander's mother's body. The family of 3 was overjoyed, and Leander finally left with Su Qingni at ease. Su Qingni did not favor one over the other. She searched for the cultivation method that originally belonged to Leander in the memory sea of the god of light and gave it to Leander. Leander's cultivation speed has been advancing by leaps and bounds since then, definitely faster than that guy Brad. Although Dilute got a very good cultivation method for his confidant and younger brother, how could it be compared with the original cultivation method of the gods? It can be confirmed that after Leander and Selena practiced the original cultivation method that belonged to them, their strength increased much faster than Brad and Alyssa, and they could definitely practice to the god level one step ahead of them. At that time, they would merge their godhoods, and the two would be able to restore to gods and take back the priesthood that originally belonged to them. As for where the godhood is, haha, it is naturally in the realm of light. After their own gods fell, their godheads were taken back to the realm of light by the god of light. The god of light waited for his subordinates to reincarnate, thinking that one day he would return the godheads to the reincarnated gods and let them return to their positions. However, he did not expect that the god of light would not wake up after falling into deep sleep due to his serious injuries. Another long ocean broke into this world, breaking the faith of the God of Light and making it impossible for the God of Light to wake up. He then stole the position of the gods and let others obtain the authority of the original gods, making it impossible for the original gods to return to their positions. However, it was fortunate that the God of Light brought the gods' godheads back to the realm of light. If these godheads were placed somewhere else, with Dilut's identity as the son of destiny at the time, I am afraid that these godheads would be found by him. He gave these godheads to his confidant and younger brother, and these people would completely replace the original gods, leaving them no chance to return to their positions. After leaving the city where Leander's family was, Su Qingni's luck was not much, and she did not meet people like Leander and Selena again. So she changed direction, and not long after, she met another pair of sisters. Both sisters were born prodigies with good aptitude. However, their family was very poor and could not afford the cultivation expenses of 2 children. The parents could only choose one to train with all their strength and give up the other. The parents chose the elder sister, and the younger sister was abandoned by her parents. She was so sad that she simply left home to make her own way. Su Qingni met this sister named Yolanda and took her as her follower. Yolanda was treated by Su Qingni in the same way as Selena and Leander, and the child's strength soared and surpassed her sister. Chapter 697 I am the 9th God of Light. After that, Su Qingni took 2 more followers, and then she led a group of followers to the forest where the elves were. Outside the forest, she met Alex, an elf who was driven out by his tribe. Naturally, Alex also became Su Qingni's follower. Then the group came to Dragon Island. The dragons were very exclusive, and they entered secretly. With Su Qingni's divine power to help everyone cover up, the dragons did not find the outsiders. The group saw a golden dragon with a group of younger brothers bullying other dragons. Su Qingni secretly approached the golden dragon Alfred, developed him into her younger brother, and took him away from Dragon Island, so that he would not stay on Dragon Island and be killed by the dragon he had bullied before. The dragon bullied by Alfred was the reincarnation of Dalet's younger brother. Su Qingni knew at a glance that Dalet had arranged for this younger brother to be a waste counterattack and slap the noble genius young master in the face drama. Now that she has brought one of the leading actors, this drama can no longer be performed. They went to the gathering place of the dwarves and took away Pask, one of the competitors for the dwarf chief. They went to the Orc Kingdom and rescued the Orc Prince Marcus, who failed to seize the throne. All the reincarnations of the gods under the God of Light were complete. Su Qingni decided to take them to a quiet place, so that they could calm down and practice and become the God of Law as soon as possible. Su Qingni decided to take everyone to the center of the Warcraft forest, where there were no extra people to disturb them, and there were powerful Warcraft for followers to practice. This is a good place. Su Qingni took a fancy to this place, and naturally other people also took a fancy to this place. So, the 2 parties met in the center of the Warcraft forest. The 2 parties collided with each other on the left and right, as if they were going to fight in the next moment. Su Qingni looked at the man surrounded by his men on the opposite side, blinked, and a smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. But then the smile disappeared. Damn, that person is Dong Huang Tai without memory. This is good. I finally met him in another world. But the problem is that the body she is possessed by now is a man. How to hook up with Dong Huang Tai and develop a super friendly relationship with him? Dong Huang Tai is not made of glass. Su Qingni was depressed. Facing the situation in front of her, Su Qingni wanted to give him a middle finger and say, he is your mother. God of Light. Dong Huang Tai, now he has no memory of Dong Huang Tai, so he can't call him Dong Huang Tai, he should call him the God of Darkness. The God of Darkness asked with a firm tone. Long time no see, Hodel. Su Qingni called out the name of the God of Darkness, and her appearance began to change, turning into the image of the God of Light in a white robe. Hodel's appearance changed accordingly, restoring the original appearance of the God of Darkness. The God of Light Balder and the God of Darkness Hodel look very similar, but what is different is the color of their hair and eyes, the clothes they wear, and the look in their eyes, and their temperament. They are actually twins, born together at the beginning of the world. They should have supported each other, but because of the concepts of light and darkness, they eventually went in opposite directions. However, Su Qingni is not Balder, and Dong Huang Tai is not Hodel, so the 2 will not fight when they meet. Even though Dong Huang Tai has no memories, he still has a clear understanding of light and darkness, yin and yang. It seems that he, like Su Qingni, wants the dark god to complement the light and enhance their strength. Battle, what are you doing in the center of the monster forest? Hodel asked Niangniang. Su Qingni smiled, whatever you do, I will do. Her eyes swept over the group of people around Hodel. These people are Hodel's followers, and they used to follow Hodel's dark gods. Hodel narrowed his eyes and said, we have a common enemy, so let's temporarily cease fire. Su Qingni nodded and agreed, okay. She said, the east and south of the monster forest belong to me, and the west and north belong to you. Okay. Hodel agreed. The two of them divided the scope of activities in this way, and lived in the monster forest peacefully. Su Qingni returned to her followers and saw that all the followers were staring at her with burning eyes. I think they were surprised by her sudden change of image. Lord Balder, is this your original appearance? Alfred was the most outspoken and asked out of curiosity. Su Qingni nodded. Marcus said, I have seen a very old book in the royal library, which describes the god of light as this image. Leander said, didn't the god king say that the god of light had long since perished? Everyone looked at Su Qingni, waiting for her answer. Su Qingni said calmly, I am the god of light. Everyone was stunned. Then Su Qingni said again, the god king you are talking about is a guy who stole the priesthood. He and his confidants and younger brothers stole the power and wisdom of the gods while the god of light and the god of darkness were sleeping and while other gods fell and reincarnated. Now that the god of light and the god of darkness have awakened, they have decided to set things right and take back the stolen power and priesthood of the gods. What a big melon. It turns out that the god king and the gods who have been believed in for more than 2,000 years are actually false gods? It turns out that the person they followed was the almighty god of light. Suddenly, everyone thought of the same question. The god of light condescended to come down to the mortal world to accept them as his subordinates, so is it that they are different from others? Thinking of this, everyone's breathing became rapid. Su Qingni gave their guess a positive answer, yes, among you, except Chris and Garrus, all of you are the reincarnations of the gods who once served me. The guess was confirmed, and Selena and others were all trembling with excitement. They are the reincarnations of gods. The Lord of Light came to them to let them return to the position of gods. Simply. Everyone was so excited that they couldn't speak, and didn't know what to say to express their current feelings. Chris and Garrus were very depressed. They were not the reincarnations of gods, but just ordinary people. Su Qingni glanced at them and said, you are the followers of my god of light. This made Chris and Garrus' eyes light up, and their depressed mood was swept away. Yes, they are followers of the god of light. They will follow the god of light to his god of light in the future. Even if they cannot become gods, they will become his messengers. Compared with other people, they are much luckier and happier. They can't help but feel fortunate for the decision they made in the Warcraft forest. The Dalton family and Miss Alyssa are nothing but scum in front of the god of light. Chapter 698 I am the 10th god of light. On the other side, Hodel's followers also learned about their original identities from him, and they were very angry with Dalit and his gang. As gods of the Dark Camp, their powers were not recognized by the public, and their lives after reincarnation were more miserable than those of the Light Camp reincarnations such as Serena and Leander. They were already indignant, angry with the world, and had a lot of hatred in their hearts. Now that they knew the truth, they turned all their hatred to Dalit and his gang. They were all determined to take back the authority and priesthood that originally belonged to them from those people. Both parties were eager to fight and work hard to take back their authority and priesthood, but there was less friction between the two sides. The two parties worked hard to practice in peace, and time gradually slipped away. The leaders of both sides met every day. From the beginning, the Dark God did not like Su Qingni, but later, Hodel was able to calmly discuss the practice of mutual assistance between light and darkness with Su Qingni. One person remembers the strengths of others, and the other two people plan for their shortcomings. Su Qingni and Hodel helped each other in their cultivation, and they also benefited a lot. Especially Hodel, although the soul of Donghuang Taiyi now occupies his body, His Majesty Taiyi has lost his memory, and his theoretical knowledge is not as good as Su Qingni. Su Qingni generously told Hodel what she knew, which benefited Hodel even more. The strength of the two people is growing visibly. This can be said to be a miracle for the gods of this world. For the gods and people of this world, the strength of the god of light and the god of darkness was the most powerful in this world before, and no one would have thought that the god of light and the god of darkness could become even more powerful. If other people knew about this, they would definitely be scared. However, Neither Su Qingni nor Hodel thought of telling this to other people or gods. In a blink of an eye, 10 years passed. During this time, it was very lively outside the Warcraft forest. The people on the side of Dalit made a lot of noise, and each of them became a genius and master who shook the world. Well, although the luck and power have leaned towards the original gods, these people are the reincarnations of gods, and they have made arrangements for themselves before their reincarnation. Therefore, no matter in terms of opportunities or strength growth, they are not comparable to ordinary people. However, in just 10 years, these people have all become saint-level masters. Saint-level. In this era, God-level masters have become legends. There are no more than 2 palms of saint-level masters, but there are more than 10 of them at once, which is really eye-catching. What's more crazy is that these dozen saint-level masters are still so young, with unlimited prospects, and they may even become legendary god-level masters. As a result, all kinds of pursuits and flattery came one after another, making these people feel proud, and they are not as diligent in cultivation as before. When they gathered together, they began to travel around. Every place they went, they showed their presence and waited for others to pursue them. They used their own strength and the help of other partners to seize the rights of major forces. The chief of the Dragon Clan, the queen of the Forest of Elves, the king of the Kingdom of Orcs, the chief of the Dwarf Clan, the emperor of the Human Country, the chief of the Big Family, almost the entire continent was controlled by this group of people. They were having fun, but they didn't know that they didn't have much time to be happy. The native gods in the Forest of Monsters practiced hard every day, and with the most suitable exercises for them, they practiced faster than the group of people of Delu. Delu's group was just a saint-level master, while the native gods were all god-level masters, and they were almost able to ignite the divine fire. Although Chris and Gareth were not native gods, they worked hard and were now saint-level masters. Su Qingni and Holder were very satisfied with everyone's performance. The two gave everyone a holiday, allowing them to relax for a few days, or go home to visit their relatives and friends. Su Qingni and Holder went back to the realm of light and the realm of darkness to take the godhood of the native gods. Chris and Gareth wanted to go home to visit their relatives. Selena thought about it and decided to go back to the Dalton family. She wanted to see how Alyssa was doing now. She already knew that Alyssa was the one who stole her authority as the god of Earth. She wanted to go and investigate in person to see if the authority of the Earth still remained in Alyssa. If there was, she would naturally take it back. After more than 10 years of not seeing each other, Chris and Gareth's families were already unfamiliar with the two people, and even their parents' feelings for them were not as good as before. The two people understood that after 10 years of separation, it was normal for the feelings to fade. Therefore, the two people who made people filial to their parents and brothers and sisters did not tell their relatives the true identity of the master they followed, nor did they explain their experiences in the past 10 years, let alone tell their relatives that they were already saint-level masters. They were afraid that their relatives would rely on the support of the two saint-level masters to do something bad. The two could not sit still for 2 days at home and left home. However, they left their families with rich cultivation materials. When Selena saw Alyssa, she was jealous like other women in Delu. Seeing Miss Alyssa, who always looked down on them in front of her, quarreling and even fighting with other women like a shrew, Selena couldn't help laughing. She checked and found that Alyssa still had some residual power of the earth, so she took it back. Alyssa, who was immersed in the jealousy of other women, didn't realize what she had lost. Leander also went home to visit his parents and brother. This brother is very good and is well raised by his parents. His parents don't treat his brother as doting as they did to Leander, but they strictly require the child to grow up to be a very qualified heir. Leander checked his brother's qualifications, asked Su Qingni for a set of exercises that are most suitable for his brother to practice, and brought many training resources from the Warcraft forest to his parents and brother. Unlike Chris and Gareth's relationship with their family, Leander was originally the most beloved child of his parents. Even if they had a little son, they did not reduce their love for Leander. Leander has a very good relationship with his parents and brother. During this time at home, Leander was very happy. On this happy day, someone suddenly knocked on the door. It turned out that Leander's sister came back home to snatch the position of head of the family with the support of her lover, who was a saint-level master. Chapter 699 I am the 11th God of Light. Leander's sister thought that the position of the head of the family was within her grasp, but reality slapped her in the face. Her lover, her supporter, a saint-level master, was actually beaten away by her brother, who was a playboy and never made progress and whom she never took seriously. Impossible. The sister screamed, "How can you be so powerful?" Leander snorted coldly, 30 years in the East, 30 years in the West, what's impossible? You are just a spoiled playboy. So what? Playboys can turn back and make progress. It is also thanks to you and your good lover that I almost became a useless person. In order to seek justice from you, don't I have to work hard to practice? Leander snorted. While the siblings were arguing, Brad had already climbed up from the ground, his face full of murderous intent. He didn't see Leander's strength, and only thought that he was negligent before, so he was hit by Leander and lost face. Humph, he can't get around this kid. Before, he had thought of sparing this kid's life for the sake of his beloved, but now, he wanted this kid to die. Leander, die? Brad launched an attack on Leander. He thought that Leander would never be able to withstand such a powerful move. Who would have thought that Leander not only withstood it, but also easily resolved his attack? Not much. How can you resolve my attack? I am a saint-level master. Brad's face was full of disbelief. Leander snorted and laughed. Because I am a god-level master, I can naturally resolve the attack of a saint-level master easily. Impossible. Brad shouted again, and his sister followed him in a duet. The two did not believe Leander's words at all. Leander used facts to prove to them that he was not a lying child, and everything he said was true. Brad and his sister were deeply shocked. They were thrown out of the door by Leander directly, and sat on the ground in despair, being pointed at by passers-by. Leander did not kill the two people for the sake of his parents, otherwise the two of them would never have had the opportunity to walk out of Leander's door. However, Leander took this opportunity to take back the remaining authority from Brad. Brad unwillingly took his sister to find Dalit, wanting Dalit to help him get revenge. Although Dalit was surprised that Leander was a god-level master, he was definitely a little weird, but he was now entangled by his confidants and had a headache about the conflicts between them. He had no time to investigate Leander's affairs in a short time. Dalit kept this matter in his heart, thinking that after coaxing his confidants and letting them reconcile and live in peace, he would deal with Leander's affairs and help his younger brother get revenge. However, just because of his delay, he never had the chance to teach Leander a lesson. Leander, Selena and others returned to the center of the Warcraft forest. Su Qingni and Hodel had already returned from their respective divine domains. Seeing that their subordinates had returned, Su Qingni and Hodel took out the godhood they had taken back from the divine domain and returned it to their respective masters, asking them to merge the godhood. Everyone who got the godhood immediately found a place to sit down and began to merge the godhood. The fusion of the divine nature requires a quiet and safe environment, but they believe in the adults they follow, so they did not find a remote and safe place, nor set up any protective measures, and just started the fusion. Su Qingni and Hodel felt the trust of their subordinates, and they were in a good mood to set up a barrier to protect the center of the monster forest, preventing anyone or monsters from entering and disturbing. The fusion of the divine nature is a long process. This is for others. It doesn't take too long for the original gods to merge with the divine nature that originally belonged to them. Will it be difficult for their own things to return to themselves? In just half a year, Selena took the lead in restoring her divine body and possessed the memories of her divine life. However, Selena has not forgotten the memories and emotions of this life. Compared with her previous self, she is now a newborn god. After Selena, it was Leander, then Yolanda, Alfred, Spark, Marcus. All the original gods were reborn, and the world was happy because of their return. A rainbow hung in the sky, and flowers bloomed on the ground. People felt the joy of the world and were very surprised. What was going on? Only those powerful beings can feel the message conveyed by heaven and earth and celebrate the return of the gods. The return of the gods? Aren't the gods in the divine realm? How can there be a return? Moreover, 2,000 years ago, when the gods became gods one after another, heaven and earth did not give such a celebration scene. What happened here? Dilute and his group frowned because of this matter. They have not returned to their original bodies, nor have they recovered their previous memories, but they feel bad from the bottom of their hearts. They always feel that something very unfavorable to them has happened and they have lost something. After discussing, the group decided to investigate the matter in detail. However, before they could take any action, Dilute suddenly spit out a mouthful of blood, fell back, and lost his breath. The confidant and the younger brothers were all frightened. Why did Dilute suddenly die? Who attacked him? The group of people were noisy and confused, not knowing whether Dilute's soul had returned to his original body. Dilute, who returned to his original body, spit out blood again, watching the divine domain he had lived in for more than 2,000 years fall apart. Dilute immediately recovered his memory after returning to his body. Seeing the divine domain fall apart, he hurried to stop it, but he couldn't stop it at all. Dilute immediately looked for helpers and forced his confidant and younger brothers to return from the human world and return to their original bodies. In the human world, Dilute's confidant and younger brothers followed in his footsteps and suddenly died. Their death made all the major forces in chaos. Without a leader, the major forces began to fight for power. Above the Warcraft forest, Selena and other native gods held the materialized authority in their right hands and summoned their divine domain. The divine domain belongs to them. How could it be used by those false gods? Dirty their original home? They must take it back and clean it well. The divine domain originally belonged to the native gods. Because the owner was away, Dilute took it away and refined it. Now that the real owner has returned and wants to take it back, how can Dilute stop him? Even with help, he can't stop it. Dilute and his group watched helplessly as the divine realm they had lived in for a long time fell apart and turned into light and flew towards the horizon. Chapter 700 I am the 12th God of Light. The original gods took back their own divine domains, and the false gods of Dilute followed the divine domains and flew over. The two groups met in the sky above the monster forest. Seeing the original gods, the false gods all trembled in their hearts, realizing that the things that originally belonged to them had disappeared. Who are you? Why did you take away our divine domains? Alyssa was the first to ask, her eyes fixed on Selena. She felt that this woman made her very familiar, and she was very disgusted in her heart. Your divine domains. Selena raised her mouth sarcastically. Those divine domains are ours. You stole our divine domains when we fell and reincarnated, and also stole our priesthood and authority. Now that we have returned, the things that belong to us must naturally return to the original owner. You are the gods of the past. Brad was shocked. You have all fallen. How can you be reborn? Nothing is impossible in this world. Leander looked at Brad with a smile. Now that Brad has returned to his own body, his original body is just a corpse. I don't know how his good sister will react. With your majesty here, we will return again no matter how many times we fall. Your majesty? The only ones who can be called your majesty by the gods are the god of light and the god of darkness. Did the god of light and the god of darkness also fall? Dilute frowned and said. If the god of light was alive and well, why didn't the god of light show up when he destroyed the entire Church of Light? I'm sorry to disappoint you. I'm just sleeping again, and I'm not dead. Su Qingni came out. She released all the momentum of the god of light, and the people on Dilute's side couldn't stand and knelt down. Dilute was shocked. Is this the god of light, the biggest boss in the world? He is so powerful that he is no match for him. If the god of light hadn't fallen asleep, he would definitely not have been able to destroy the Church of Light, let alone become a god. He would have been destroyed by this man with a wave of his sleeves, right? Su Qingni smiled at Dilute. Thank you for destroying the Church of Light. The Church of Light harbors filth and I don't like it. Even if you don't take action, I will. Thank you for saving me the trouble. To thank you, I will spare your life. Dilute's face changed from time to time, and it was extremely ugly. He wanted to fight against the god of light as domineeringly as before, but he couldn't do it. The strength of the god of light was too strong, and he was no match at all. Su Qingni's eyes were cast on the men and women beside Dilute again. Most of them were women. They were all Dilute's confidants. Although these women were gods, they did not have the corresponding strength of gods. These gods were simply ashamed to the gods. Su Qingni narrowed her eyes, stretched out her hand, and waved at the group of men and women. The men and women spurted blood together and shouted in panic, my godhead is broken. My divine fire is extinguished. The godhead was shattered, the divine fire was extinguished, they were no longer gods, and their strength level also regressed. All of them were relegated to the level of saint-level masters. Occasionally, 2 or 3 of them were god-level masters. This is too much cheating. Su Qingni shook her head and sighed. Those women were only saint-level masters, but Dilute cheated and made them gods. No wonder they were so weak. Disgusting pseudo-gods. Holder looked down on these men and women and said to his gods, they are left to you to deal with. The gods under his command readily agreed. They had long wanted to teach these pseudo-gods who stole the priesthood and authority a lesson. At this time, he sharpened his fists and flew towards the group of men and women. The group of men and women turned around and fled in fear. Magisters and above can fly in the air. Although their strength has declined, they can still fly in the sky and will not fall to the ground. These people were very fast because of fear. But no matter how fast they are, they can't be faster than the gods. Soon they were caught up and taught a lesson by the gods one-on-one. After venting their anger, the gods ended the lives of these people, crushed their bodies, and sent their souls into the deepest part of the netherworld. Only Dalit was left. Facing the two great gods Su Qingni and Holder, Dalit knew that he had no hope of escaping or to making a comeback. He accepted his fate and stared at Su Qingni and Holder and said, "You don't have to do anything. Only I can take my life." After saying that, he was about to self-destruct his body and godhood, hoping to take the opportunity to let his soul escape. However, his little tricks were almost transparent in front of the two great gods and were easily seen through. Holder intercepted Dalit's soul that wanted to escape. Interesting soul. Holder pinched the translucent soul and said, "The essence of this soul does not belong to this world." Su Qingni said lightly, "When he stays in this world for a long time, he will be branded by this world." Holder threw the soul to Su Qingni. "Here you go." Su Qingni took the soul and said to the trembling soul, "Don't worry, my promise counts, and I won't let your soul fly away." The soul trembled even more. Su Qingni kept her word and did not destroy Dalu's soul. She just deprived him of the divine power and memory in his soul, branded it with the mark of this world, and threw it into reincarnation. However, reincarnation is not liberation, but the beginning of punishment. After dealing with all the false gods, the real gods showed themselves in front of people and announced the crimes of Dalu and his group to the public. All the creatures on the earth were in an uproar. It turned out that the ancient gods were not dead, and Dalu and others were false gods who stole the priesthood. What they had always believed in was actually a false god. This cognition caused a lot of turmoil on the earth. All the temples and statues belonging to the group of Dalu were torn down. The families they came from quickly fell because of them, just as they rose quickly because of them in the past. These families enjoyed the glory brought by them, and naturally they had to bear the blame brought by them. The Dalton family fell apart. Chris and Gareth returned home and served as a military backer for their family for a period of time, so that others did not dare to attack their family. After that, the two left. The relatives of their two families wanted them to stay, but they were rejected. Everyone on the earth knew that the God of Light was alive and well, and decided to rebuild the Church of Light, but Su Qingni came forward to stop it. She didn't need faith, and she didn't need the church that would deteriorate sooner or later. The people who established the church now are loyal believers and will follow the rules, but over time, if they stay in high positions for a long time, the top leaders of the church will only be some guys who only have power in their hearts. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.